home opener against the Philadelphia Eagles. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton. You know, people all over are curious about the Dallas Cowboys. Which team will show up today? The one that came from behind to beat the Rams in the opening week? Or perhaps the team that got crushed soundly by the New York Giants last week? Well, Hank Stram, the Cowboys are 1-1. How do you assess them so far?
Dick, they haven't played very well in the first two games. They've had problems with turnovers. You know, last year, they turned over the ball 14 times the whole season. In the first two games, they've lost it 7 times already. That, along with the transition of new players, has made the difference in the way they have played so far in the 2 games.
You know, Hank, that quarterback soap opera goes on and on here in Dallas. Danny White, Gary Hogaboom. Hogaboom will be the quarterback again for the 3rd straight game. And Tom Landry telling us in practice Friday that that decision may not be a permanent one. What was he really telling us?
Well, I think he was addressing us, addressing the press, addressing people around the country and around America, but basically he was talking to one person, and that is to Danny White. He wants to make sure that Danny White has a good perspective and has high hopes and expectations of being able to play before the season is over with, and that's what he was doing. He was talking to Danny White, but you know, I got paid a lot of money for not coaching, so what do I know?
Come on. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles, Hank, have no problem at quarterback. He's Ron Jaworski, perhaps more of a leader than he's ever been before. And what are the Eagles' chances behind Jaworski against the Cowboys today?
Jaworski is one of the outstanding quarterbacks, I think, in the National Football League. He's earned the right to be recognized as such because he's won consistently. He's thrown 70 balls in the first 2 games of the season, hasn't thrown an interception. He said before the game that if he has 2.8 or 2.9 seconds to throw the ball, he will do a number on the defensive secondary of the Dallas Cowboys.
And, of course, he's hoping he gets that protection, and that's how he'll get those 3 seconds to get the ball off. Meanwhile, we're underway. The Cowboys have won the toss and will receive. Paul Mcfadden, a rookie, will be kicking to Gary Allen. And Ron Fellows is also back there for the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles also 1-1. They lost their opening game to the Giants, who have beaten both of these teams. And the Eagles came back in dramatic fashion at the finish to beat Minnesota last week. So we're set to go here. It is 76 degrees as we get underway. And Paul Mcfadden, one of 2 rookie kickers that Marion Campbell has brought aboard this year. This is a divisional game, and of course, as everyone knows, it means so much more than any other kind of contest. Gary Allen, inside the 10 at the 8-yard line, receiving the kickoff. Past the 20, and he's hit right about the 22-yard line by Evan Cooper. So here's the offense for the Dallas Cowboys. Hogaboom, of course, leading the team. Tony Dorsett and Ron Springs in the backfield. Doug Donnelly is starting the ball game. He was a question mark. Mike Renfrow, the other wide receiver. Doug Cosby, the tight end, and Posderick, Scott, Rafferty, Peterson, and Cooper, the offensive line for Dallas. Cowboys have not been protecting all that well for Hogaboom, who was sacked 5 times last week against the Giants. First play of the ball game, and here is Dorsett going outside. Dorsett has a first down close to it and is actually knocked out of bounds short of that. Gain of 9 yards. Jerry Robinson makes the tackle. He'll be in on a lot of plays today. Defensively for the Eagles, Harrison, Clark, and Brown up front in the 3-4. Good inside backers, Jerry Robinson and Anthony Griggs. Joelle Williams is their best pass rusher from outside. And in the secondary, Brenard Wilson again for Roynell Young. Edwards, the other cornerback, and 2 good hitting safeties, Hank, and Ray Ellis and Wes Hopkins.
They're tough, and they're very strong, and they react pretty well against the pass, too.
Talked to Hopkins yesterday. He's coming home to play in Dallas. Started SMU. Here's Dorsett. Breaks 1 tackle and jumps forward for a first down at the 35-yard line. Jody Schultz makes the tackle. Tony Dorsett, who has had some good games against Philadelphia and not so good games against the Eagles.
You know, very obviously looking at the plan going into the game, talking to the Cowboy coaches and players, they indicated that they felt they could run outside early, and they're certainly going to try it. They did a good job running right, not so good running to their left.
Renfrow comes out to the right. He's got the good hands, although he had some problems against the Giants. Donnelly is split to the left. Dorsett the setback. 1st and 10. Play action pass. Hogaboom's first pass is complete to Renfrow, who picks up another first down at the 48-yard line. Brenard Wilson makes the tackle.
I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that during the course of the game, working on Brenard Wilson, the cornerback who was starting over there for the first time. Normally plays another position. Play action fake inside. Pulls the linebackers. Plenty of room on the outside on Bernard Wilson. Mike Renfrow makes the first down. Here he gets a free release coming off the line of scrimmage. Look at this. Makes a good outside. The head turns quickly to locate the ball. He tucks it away, and he's finally knocked out of bounds by Bernard Wilson, but not until after he makes a big gain on the play.
So it's 1st and 10 at the Cowboy 48. Another play action pass. Hogaboom with time. Wide open is Ron Springs at the 30-yard line. And Springs gets close to the 20 and inside the 20-yard line. A 22-yard pickup. Robinson knocked him out of bounds, and Hank, Ron Springs was wide open after Hogaboom had all day.
Well, that's the key. They had no pass rush whatsoever that time. Hogaboom had all the time in the world to throw the football. It was a play-action fake, but not a very good fake. But look at that. There's no rush whatsoever. A crossing pattern by Ron Springs, number 20, and he's finally taken down from behind by number 56, Jerry Robinson, who runs a 4.5 40 as a linebacker.
He's got good speed. Ron Springs, a good receiver out of the backfield for the Cowboys. So it's 1st and 10. And here is Dorsett going outside, gets by Schultz and picks up a few yards, brings it out to the 13-yard line. So far the Dallas Cowboys, it's been an effortless march since they took over in the first possession of the game.
Again, they wound up running straight ahead but bounced outside. They're taking advantage, I think, of the lack of speed of Dennis Harrison. I think that's the feeling of the Cowboys. He's 6'8", 275. He's big and he's strong. But they feel they can get outside of him, and they've done that pretty well so far.
The Cowboys have not been successful in first quarters this year. They've been outscored 27-0. They've had trouble in past years, as a matter of fact, scoring in the first quarter. 2nd down and 4. Springs in motion. Here's Dorsett into the line and gets to the 11-yard line. Dennis Harrison makes the tackle. Tony Dorsett, who comes into the ball game 85 yards shy of Jim Taylor's standing, is the number 6 NFL all-time leading rusher.
You know, it's a funny thing watching the Cowboys. They shift around an awful lot, and people, I think, sometimes wonder how they get from all those formations to the original set. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we go along, because it's an optional thing on the backs. They line up wherever they want to, and then they must be in the set position when the ball is snapped, and that's why they have so much movement.
So everyone thinks that all the movements are planned. Not so. 3rd down and 2. Waddell Smith, who joined the club last week, is in there out of the shotgun. The pass intended for Renfrow is incomplete.
Waddell Smith that time had a one-on-one on Edwards on the right side, the offensive left, but he didn't look over there at all. He made up his mind he was going to throw the ball right to Donnelly, who he likes to throw the ball to an awful lot. Not Donnelly, but number 82.
Michael
Renfrow.
He came over from Houston.
I always want to say Ray like his daddy. Yeah.
This is a 29-yard field goal attempt. Hogaboom is holding for Septien, who's 2 for 2 this year. All-time leading Cowboys scorer, and the kick is up. And the kick is good. No good. The kick is no good. So Raphael Septien, normally a 29-yard kick, is automatic, but not this time, and so the Cowboys still haven't scored.
Let's take a look at it. He hooks it, and it goes to the left. Septien has kicked 20 consecutive field goals inside the 40 until today.
So Raphael Septien, normally a 29-yard kick, is automatic, but not this time, and so the Cowboys still haven't scored.
Let's take a look at it. He hooks it, and it goes to the left. Septien has kicked 20 consecutive field goals inside the 40 until today.
Well, Raphael Septien misses his first field goal of the season. And now the Philadelphia Eagles take over, 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line, so they got a break there after the Cowboys march down. And Ron Jaworski leading the Eagles. In motion is Mike Quick, who was out last week with a bruised knee.
One thing is very important, you have to throw against the Cowboys.
Screen to Quick, and that's what they did. Quick trying to get away and brings it out to the 26-yard line, and he is strong as well as having that shifty maneuvers. So the offense, Ron Jaworski, UB Oliver is the blocking back. Wilbert Montgomery, we'll see a lot of him. Kenny Jackson, the rookie from Penn State, along with Mike Quick at wide receiver. John Spagnola, who was out all of last year, back at tight end. Maraldi, Perot, Dennard, Baker, and Leonard Mitchell, the offensive line for the Eagles.
That's going to be an interesting matchup. Mitchell blocking Ed Jones. It'll be an interesting confrontation all afternoon.
Second down and 4. Inside, Wilbert Montgomery gets to about the 30-yard line and may have a first down. We'll see where they spot the ball. Randy White makes the tackle. And taking a look at the Dallas Cowboys defensively, their basic defense is 4-3 with Ed Jones, John Dutton, Randy White, and Jim Jeffcoat, all #1 draft picks. The linebackers, Mike Hegman, a rookie, Eugene Lockhart in place of Bob Brunig, who's out with an injured back. Walls and Fellows, the cornerbacks, and Dexter Clinkscale and Michael Downs are the safeties. Bob Brunig is missing his first game after 136 straight at middle linebacker.
They like Lockhart very, very much. They say he's big and is strong and certainly not as experienced, but they like him as a future middle linebacker.
First and 10 for the Eagles. Jaworski has seen a lot of Dallas in his career because he sees him in his sleep. Pumps once, and the pass is intercepted. Intercepted by Mike Hegman at the 42-yard line. So Mike Hegman with the interception, and that is the 6th of the year for the Cowboys. The first 5 were in the opening game against the Rams.
Hegman really got great depth that time. Number 58 to the right of your screen. Throws to that. There's a little hesitation. He finally throws the ball, but Hegman by that time with a hesitation got right in front of the defensive back and comes up with the interception. And now the Cowboys have good field position with 1st and 10.
Kenny Jackson was the intended receiver. Hegman's second interception of the season, and it's 1st and 10 now at the 42-yard line of the Eagles. Most of the action has been in Eagle territory so far. Dorsett tests the middle and doesn't get much, picks up a couple of yards, and that's all. Ken Clark, the nose tackle, makes the play. Tom Landry, who celebrated his 60th birthday this week, Hank, 25 of them coaching these Dallas Cowboys. And
he was kind of loose the other day. He didn't seem to be very, very concerned about the way his team has played, and I think it's twofold. Number one, there's no team in the division that's really dominating the scene. Of course, the Giants have won 2 games, but I don't think anybody expects them to do that on a continued basis. So I think that he feels that by the 6th game, they ought to be a pretty sharp football team.
Keep you up to date on the Giant Redskin game underway now. Renfrow is in motion, 2nd down and 8. Hogaboom getting the rush, and Hogaboom is thrown to the turf by Jody Schultz. And Hogaboom was really hit hard and slow getting up. Jody Schultz playing in place of Reggie Wilkes, and he's got good pass rushing capabilities in his 2nd year.
And nobody touched him, and he's 6'4" and 235. Look, he gets a free shot. Nobody touched him. It looked like a screen pass that time, and threw him to the turf. A sack for Jody Schultz, number 53.
And the Eagles are not a dog or blitzing team, basically.
I think, however, that we'll see more blitzing during the course of this game than they normally like to do.
So it's 3rd down and 20 now. Elbert Fowles and Evan Cooper come in for the Eagles. They have 6 defensive backs in there. And the Cowboys back on their own 48. Dorsett can't hold on to it. It is an incompleted pass. A swing pass to Dorsett, incomplete. It'll be 4th down. And so the Cowboys, despite that first drive, sputtered on the field goal attempt and didn't do anything on Hegman's interception here.
Jerry Robinson, number 56, the inside middle linebacker. He got out there in the flat area. As I mentioned earlier, he's got 4.5 speed, and he got out there in great shape. He was the only one really involved. Had he caught the ball, that'd have been a long game.
So Danny White, who replaced Jim Miller as the Cowboy punter last week, and 3 of his 8 kicks were inside the 20, will be punting to Evan Cooper, who was a 4th-round draft pick. Low snap and a good kick. Cooper inside the 10 at the 9, fumbles, and he has it. A 43-yard punt, and Evan Cooper almost gave the Dallas Cowboys another golden opportunity. We'll be back. We are back at Texas Stadium. 9:58 remaining in the first quarter. No score between the Eagles and the Cowboys. And the Philadelphia Eagles have it 1st and 10 on the 13.
Cooper made a bad mistake. He should have let the ball go, especially on synthetic turf. He tried to catch it on about the 9.
Inside the 10, you've got to let it go, right, Hank?
Yep.
Ron Jaworski, the quarterback. Inside handoff to Wilbert Montgomery. Breaks a couple of tackles and brings it out to the 22-yard line. A gain of almost 9 on the play. Well, for you fans that have been watching, the Minnesota Vikings beat the Atlanta Falcons 27-20. Welcome to our game here. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram at Texas Stadium. to see what's up with the Cowboys, who are 1-1, and these Philadelphia Eagles, who are also 1-1, and right now talking to the defensive unit, particularly the secondary.
Fred Bruni, who was a great player for Ohio State, is on the sideline. He's assistant to the head coach, and he handles their defense.
Marion Campbell is starting his second year as head coach. They're going to measure to see whether Montgomery indeed got the first down. It's close, and he missed by that much.
You know, talking to Landry yesterday, we asked him what 3 things he had to do to win the game. He said, number 1, stop Montgomery. Number 2, stop Quick. And number 3, control Jaworski. That's quite a task.
Well, Quick did not play last week. Montgomery did not play much of last year. And he could have added John Spagnuolo, the tight end, who really rounds out that Philadelphia offense. But
yeah, they really like him. It means that they cannot double cover the outside receivers that much, because Spagnuolo is good enough to lick people one-on-one, and he's done a good job so far in this short season.
2nd down and 1 for the Eagles on their 22-yard line.
Good time for a play-action fake.
Here's Wilbert Montgomery. All he needed was a couple of inches, and there's a Dexter Clinkscale coming in and knocking Montgomery back. He hit the wall and then was bounced back, but he may have a first down. Let's find out. Brunt Musburger with an NFL update. We're back here at Dallas. No score. And a penalty marker thrown on that last play. The referee is Chuck Heberly.
Illegal formation, offense, 6 men on the line.
Too many men on the line. It'll be 2nd down.
You know, Dick, in that situation, 2nd and 1 to 3, you get that opportunity about 3 times in a game, and I think you ought to take advantage of that opportunity as much as you can and try to get a big play.
That's a time you don't have to be conservative.
No, that's right. You got everything in the world to gain, nothing to lose. You still come up with 3rd and inches, and you ought to be able to make that. If you can't make inches, you know, on a 3rd down situation, you're going to be in trouble all afternoon.
Mike Quick out to the left, 2nd down and 6 at the 17. In motion, John Spagnuolo. Here's Montgomery. Can't get by the man penetrating in the backfield, and a fine play by Eugene Lockhart. So Eugene Lockhart making a fine play on Wilbert Montgomery. We were talking to Tom Landry about this 6th round draft choice out of Houston, and he said he's an explosive linebacker. He is taller and heavier than Bob Brunig, and he's a lot more aggressive than the other linebacker they like, Billy Cannon. But they expect good things from Eugene Lockhart.
Yeah, he's more of an instinctive player. He does what he feels, and usually feels very strongly about what he does and gets it done.
Cowboys in their 4-0 defense, which we'll explain shortly. On 3rd and 4, Jaworski loops it out, going for Quick, but he was covered well by Everson Walls, who got burned a couple of times last week.
You know, last year when they played, Everson Walls was on Mike Quick all over the field. He was with him man for man, and he did the same thing that time. He went in motion, followed him all the way across the field, and had him faded in good shape.
Mike Horan, who took a leave of absence as a mechanical engineer with an aircraft company and won the job as punter, replacing Max Runeker. There he is. Will be kicking to Gary Allen. Horan has been up and down, but he's gotten off one kick, nearly 70 yards. Left footer boots it, and a good kick, sending Allen way back. And Allen grabs it at the 27-yard line. Gary Allen is brought down at the 38-yard line. Not bad field position for the Cowboys, and a couple of players mix it up briefly. Tackled by Dave Pasella, and we'll be back after this. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram. And Hank, as you mentioned at the outset, this is a team in transition. People always see Dallas Cowboys and expect certain things from them.
You know, it's interesting as we talked to Tom Landry about that situation. He feels that by the 6th game, he'll know a lot more about this football team.
And we'll see who's the quarterback, too. The other 1st and 10. Dorsett doesn't get much. Find out what's going on around the National Football League. Vikings over the Atlanta Falcons 27-20. Indianapolis Colts leading St. Louis. You saw the Chicago Green Bay score. New England, after trailing 23-0, now leading Seattle 31-23 in the 4th quarter. And look at the New York Jets over Cincinnati 43-16 in the 4th.
Boy, that's hard to believe, isn't it?
2nd down and 9. Hogaboom's pass. is caught into Philadelphia territory for a first down by Mike Renfrow. So Mike Renfrow, who's got the highest average per catch, nearly 20 yards, makes that play.
The key here, look at, he's got time enough to throw the ball, and Renfrow gets a free release, and he comes back for the ball just enough to make the reception. A good play by Mike Renfrow, number 82. You know, he doesn't have great speed, but he's got terrific hands. He runs probably the 40 in about 4.7, 4.8 maybe, but he's got 4.3, 4.4 hands, and that's important.
Of course, the Cowboys used to be rich at wide receiver, but with injuries and retirements and trades, they're kind of soft right there. Here's a reverse, and here's Doug Donnelly on a handoff from Dorsett trying to go around end, but the Eagles played it very well, Hank, and he would have done well to get back to the line of scrimmage, and I don't think he did that. It was Ray Ellis who made the play, but Jody Schultz on the pursuit.
He looked like he ran with a lot of deliberation that time. He looked like he was afraid maybe he would pull the muscle. He did not fly around on the reverse. Anytime that you run a reverse, it's feast or famine. You've got to either fly and hope that you're going to make something, or maybe you're not, but you really got to go after it. He didn't look like he really pursued it real tough that time.
He was questionable right up to game time. He has a strained muscle in the backside, and of course the Cowboys with Butch Johnson traded, Drew Pearson retiring, and Tony Hill out with a shoulder separation. That's a big miss for the Cowboys. Second down and 11. Dorsett, not much room, and picks up a couple of yards. It'll be third down and 8. Ray Ellis and Jody Schultz make the tackle on Tony Dorsett.
The first time they ran that play outside, we talked about the fact that they were going to try to run outside quite a bit this afternoon. That's about the 4th time already they've tried to do that. The first time they ran it, they were very successful, picked up about 9 yards. That time, Jody Schultz, number 53, and Harrison, the defensive end, played it much better, and he didn't make much yardage on the play.
The Eagles are looking to get back to that swarming defense that they had a few years ago. They're not getting the pass rush, which is something they have to get. Byron Darby and Harvey Armstrong in there. 4 down linemen for the Eagles. Third down and 8. Ogbu drills it, springs, and knocking it away is Jerry Robinson, covering downfield. Right now for an NFL Today update, let's check in with Brent Musburger in New York. All right, Brent, so the Giants continue to hang in there, and Phil Simms off to a terrific start, Hank.
Well, he's very capable. People lose sight of the fact that he was out for 2 years, but he's a very capable quarterback with good size and a good arm and moves well. He's a good one.
Danny White punting to Evan Cooper. Good kick, and Cooper's just going to let this one sail into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the Eagles, after that 47-yard kick, will take over, but there's a penalty marker down upfield at about the 45-yard line. The penalty is against Dallas.
I don't think they'll accept the penalty. I think they'll turn it down and just take the ball in a 20.
Ineligible receiver apparently is the call, and Cowboys are going to decline.
Ineligible receiver downfield on the kicking team, number 56, declined. First down.
And when we come back, Tom Landry's Cowboys will be on defense again. It'll be 1st and 10 Philly at their 20. Hank, back and forth they go, change of possessions, and nothing going.
Well, Dallas has had possession 1st and 10 7 times and really hasn't done very much. Philadelphia 3 times, thrown the ball 2 out of 3 times, but they really haven't had good field position.
1st and 10 now at the 20-yard line. Montgomery is hit and hit hard in the backfield by Jim Jeffcoat, and a loss of them on the play. Now, you were talking yesterday to Marion Campbell about what you have to do against the Dallas Cowboys and asking him about the wisdom of passing on 1st down.
I think you really have to do that an awful lot. You got to run it to flex an awful lot, because in flex, I mean, they usually take a lineman or maybe 2 off the line of scrimmage, and that's why they call it a flex position. But I think they have to do more of that, but they can't do it unless they get better field position, which they haven't had so far.
Now it's 2nd and 12. 2nd and long, and here is Montgomery going left and hitting at the original line of scrimmage. Cowboys aggressive, crisp. Eugene Lockhart and Randy White come up and make the play. Dallas Cowboys feel their defense hasn't been all that bad. Actually, they're 1st in the league in pass defense, but that's measured against yards.
Well, the other thing, you know, totally they're 3rd in defense, 9 against the run, 1 against the pass. It's a big improvement over last year, and I think there's been a lot of controversy about the quarterback situation over last year, but really the problem they had last year was their inability to do a good job defensively. That was really the problem.
Ron Jaworski in the shotgun. 3rd down and 10 with 5:25 to go in the first quarter. No score. Eagles sitting on the 20. Penalty markers fly. This may be a free play for Jaworski, and he is going for Tony Woodruff. Overthrown. And let's see if the play was indeed against Dallas or whether they were drawn offside by the Eagles.
It looked like Smerrick might have been offside, number 60, but I couldn't tell for sure. Let's see what they call.
It is against the Cowboys, says Chuck Heberling. So this could be a 3rd and 5 for the Eagles.
Offside, defense, number 60, 2nd down.
It'll be 2nd down and 5. Don Smerrick, who comes into the ball game as one of the 4 linemen up front in that 4-0 defense that the Cowboys use on every passing situation.
You know, I talked to Dutton yesterday, John Dutton, who is 6'7", 255. He used to weigh about 275, but he's lost about 20 pounds, and he's playing much better. Smerrick's in the game now at that position.
3rd and 5. Tony Woodruff in the ball game as the 3rd wide receiver.
7 defensive backs.
At the 25. Up the middle, knocked down. Good play by Dexter Clinkscale. The intended receiver was Hubie Oliver coming out of the backfield. Chuck Heberling had said 2nd down, but it was indeed 3rd down, and the play was incomplete, and now the Eagles will have to punt.
It's very important when you play Dallas that you do not permit them to come in with 7 defensive backs. The fewer times they're in that position, the better chance you have to win.
Allen is back for the Cowboys. Mike Horan will punt. Kicking from the 10, 5:11 to go in the first quarter. It's high. Allen at the 36 is hit and dropped. So the Cowboys will get a chance again. That was a 39-yard punt by Horan, and Michael Haddix made the tackle. We'll be back. An exciting game in Indianapolis, and Neil O'Donoghue's 46-yard field goal with 7 seconds to go gave the Cardinals a 34-33 win over the Indianapolis Colts. Here in Dallas, Dick Stockton and Hank Stram. No score with 5:02 to go in the first quarter. Cowboys have the ball 1st and 10 on their 35-yard line. It's been back and forth and nothing doing. Hogaboom going to the air on 1st down. Second receiver is Cosby, the tight end. He can't get away from the defender, Jody Schultz, and he's down at the 38-yard line.
That time, Mike Renfrow, again, I mentioned he doesn't have great speed, but he's got terrific moves. That time, he made an outside move on Wilson and beat him to the top, right up on top, but Hogaboom did not see him at all and dumped the ball off in the right flat, but he had a chance for a big play with Renfrow.
Your feelings about the quarterback situation? A lot of people thought after last week maybe Hogaboom would be replaced. Landry said he never thought about that.
Well, I didn't think they could possibly do that with all the deliberation they were involved with making that decision. No way in the world that Landry could change quarterbacks after one loss, because Hogaboom, it wasn't his fault last week.
2nd down and 7. He swings it out to Dorsett. Good catch by Dorsett. 1st down and more into Eagle territory, and knocked out of bounds at the 42-yard line by Wes Hopkins. A 22-yard gain to Dorsett, who Landry says has wild hands. They come up at the last minute. They were good hands there.
They had a blitz that time. Look at Griggs coming up the middle. A great play against a blitzing defense. He has plenty of time to run outside, makes a good move. Herman Edwards finally makes the tackle, but not until after he makes a nice gain on the play.
So it's a 1st down for the Cowboys at the Eagle 42-yard line.
Well, that's a great time to call the screen pass, because it's feast or famine, and the linebacker blitzing is going north and south when you're going east and west.
Here's Dorsett, hit at the line, bounces off a defender, and is caught. Maybe a loss on the play by Brenard Wilson. Right now, for an NFL Today update, let's go to New York and hear from Brent Musburger. Brent? You're right, Brent. In fact, O'Donoghue missed an extra point against Green Bay in the opening game, Hank. We were there, and it cost him that game.
Yes, and he missed a couple of field goals last year against the Giants that made a difference in that game.
Kept you working till about 2 a.m.
I never thought the game was ever going to end.
2nd down and 12, draw play. Dorsett breaks one off the right side and is close to a 1st down at the 31-yard line. He may indeed have it. A quick trap. Ray Ellis makes the tackle on Tony Dorsett.
Herb Scott, 68, made a good block that time on number 53, Jody Schultz. There you see the block, just enough, gets a piece of him, just enough, so Dorsett could run to the inside and make a sizable gain on the play.
It's 3rd and short now, and the Cowboys come in with the power game. They have Ron, Springs, and Newsom, Cosby, and Brian Salonen, a tight end, who's blocking now, and Ron Springs has the first down to the 30-yard line. First down at the 30 for the Dallas Cowboys. It was Newsom, who of course plays the same position Tony Dorsett does. He is big, he can catch out of the backfield and has fullback abilities and can run. He's more of a power runner than he's ever been in the past, and he's an important backup for Tom Landry.
You know, they say pound for pound he's the strongest man on the team. Talking about Timmy Newsom, he bench presses 430 pounds. That's almost as strong as you.
By about 390. Hogeboom going to the air on first down, and he's going for Cosby, and it's almost intercepted by Ray Ellis, the strong safety. Cosby going deep. Ellis, who has won the job at strong safety, a good hitter.
Bad fake, trying to fake inside. Bad fake, good penetration inside. Tries to hit the seam of the zone, but Ray Ellis, number 24, really makes a sensational play and knocks the ball down.
2nd down and 10. Here's Donnelly. What was he doing?
Well, he's running inside on the zone. He's wide open, but he doesn't see him. I think, you know, typically watching Hogeboom play, he makes up his mind who he's going to throw the ball to prematurely and throws the ball there regardless. And I think there was a great illustration of that kind of a situation.
That's the 2nd time you pointed out where a wide receiver was open. 2nd and 10 at the 29-yard line. Hogeboom incomplete. He was going for Renfrow on the play, and Herman Edwards was covering. You know, when we were reading the morning papers here and the letters to the editor in the sports page, they were vehement in defense of Danny White, wondering why people didn't criticize Gary Hogeboom for the loss last week the way Danny White has been criticized by the media for all the problems the Cowboys had last year.
You know, talking to Danny White yesterday, you had to be impressed with the style and class that he expressed about the situation. He was very low-key about it. You get the feeling that he feels that eventually he'll get the job back. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
3rd and 10 at the 29. Less than 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Hogeboom up the middle, and Waddell Smith can't hold on to it. It is incomplete. Waddell Smith, who is one of the top receivers in the Canadian League, defended by Herman Edwards. And Smith, who originally was with your old club, Kansas City, back in '77 as an 8th-round pick, almost made a circus catch.
Well, he just missed going to the Olympics in 1976, I think it was, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And ran a 9.4, runs a 9.400. Boy, he can fly, and he's a great kid. We had a good visit with him yesterday.
This is going to be a 47-yard field goal attempt. Rafael Septien, who missed from 29 yards earlier. Holding will be Hogeboom with 1:51 showing on the clock. Septien's kick is long enough, and it is good. So Septien, who has kicked field goals of 31 and 52 yards so far this year, makes good from 47 yards out to give the Dallas Cowboys a 3-0 lead in this first quarter. 1:47 remaining in the first quarter. The Cowboys lead the Eagles 3-0 on Septien's 47-yard field goal, and he'll be kicking off now. Deep for the Eagles is Joe Hayes, a rookie, 7th-round draft pick, who bobbled the ball against the Giants, played better against Minnesota last week. The Eagles have not had good field position in this game so far, haven't done much with whatever they've had.
They've only had 3 possessions, and all of which have been inside the 20 and inside. It's tough.
Andre Waters, a rookie running back. The ball is brought out now. It'll be 1st and 10 Eagles, and maybe their best field position so far. Well, next Saturday there's more college football on CBS Sports, and we've got an outstanding matchup. You'll see top-ranked Nebraska take on 7th-ranked UCLA. Last season, Nebraska rolled over the Bruins 42-10, so you can be sure the Bruins will be hungry for revenge. Nebraska, UCLA, good matchup, Hank, next Saturday here on CBS Sports.
It'll be an excellent matchup between, obviously, 2 of the very fine teams in collegiate football.
At the 32-yard line, the Eagles so far have only 1 first down, but trail only 3-0.
See if they throw the ball on 1st and 10 here. They got better field position. Here they
Play
go.
action. Jaworski, you're right, going up on top, and the pass is incomplete. Kenny Jackson, defended by Ron Fellows. Jackson, the rookie from Penn State, and the #1 draft pick.
I think as we go along, you'll see the Philadelphia Eagles try to do an awful lot of work on Ron Fellows, number 27. Not that he's that bad, but they just feel that Walls is much better, and for that reason, they're going to give him a lot of business.
Jaworski off to a slow start. He came into the game with a terrific percentage of nearly 70%. And through his first interception, he had come into the game 70 passes and no interceptions. Hegman picked one off, but the Cowboys didn't capitalize. 2nd and 10 at the 32 with 1:32 on the clock, first quarter. Jaworski swings it out. Hubie Oliver can't hold on to it. So the Eagles are struggling offensively on the scoreboard. The Vikings over the Falcons 27-20. The Bears beat the Packers 9-7, and Walter Payton 110 yards rushing in that game. The Cardinals on O'Donoghue's field goal nip the Colts.
That's a great comeback. Boy, this is amazing. 31-23, New England, Seattle.
3rd down and 10. 3rd and long, and that 4-0 defense, and we'll explain exactly what we mean as we go on with the Cowboys 4-0. Jaworski under pressure, going up on top to Mike Quick, and he can't reach it. Everson Walls was closest to him, and Michael Downs put a good rush on Ron Jaworski. So far has come up empty today, Hank.
Well, when you talk about 4-0, I think sometimes it's very deceptive. What it really means is you got 4 linemen and 7 defensive backs. They take out the 3 linebackers and put 3 defensive backs in the game, 2 of which play the linebacking position. That time, both linebackers blitzed that time, Clinksdale and Victor Scott, 47-22 respectively.
Mike Horan to punt again. Gary Allen is back at the 23. Bobbles it, in trouble, and is hemmed in inside the 20-yard line. Hank, let's take a look at some scores now. The Jets over Cincinnati 43-23.
What an impressive win for the Jets. And look at the Raiders, 4th quarter, 22-20. That's really been a dogfight.
That game in Kansas City, the Lions have jumped up ahead of Tampa Bay 7-0 in the 2nd quarter.
And the Rams 7-0 over Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
San Diego 14-0 over Houston in the 2nd quarter. And a lot of scores bring you up to date throughout the afternoon. Many games in progress now. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have 1st and 10 on their 18-yard line with 1:18 to go. Dorsett looking for running room. Gets beyond the 20 to about the 23-yard line. Jerry Robinson and Joelle Williams make the tackle.
You know, being in the locker room with the Cowboys yesterday was a lot of fun, wasn't it? The way they needle each other. I got a kick out of Springs saying, "I'm tired of blocking for that midget." I have to get the ball more. And of course, Dorsett came back for some choice remarks, so they had a lot of fun.
Dorsett and Springs, and of course Dennis Thurman. He's quite a talker there. He's right in the midst of a lot of those running backs.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a lawyer, isn't he?
He started already. Under a minute, 35 seconds precisely remaining. And the Cowboys move in the backfield. Dorsett kind of jumped. So that should go against the Cowboys. Tony Dorsett started to take a couple of steps forward. You know, Dennis Thurman was talking to us about how his kid brother at USC says he's way behind his interception schedule.
Yeah, he said he ought to have at least 3 by now.
He's a tough guy, isn't he? It's only the 3rd game of the year.
Expects an awful lot from his big brother.
Illegal motion, 2 moving on the offense, 2nd down.
Dorsett had some company moving. Does that happen a lot, do you think, Hank, because they can go in any direction they want until a certain point?
Yeah, that's what, you know, a lot of times in that situation, they try to predetermine where they're going to be, and they have to be in a formation that they actually use, and not a phony formation. And so they sometimes try to anticipate where they're going to go and where they're going to be, and they lose sight of the fact where they have to be when the ball's snapped, and it's a problem.
2nd down and 10 on the 18. Dorsett trying the right side. Runs into Ron Springs, and Brenard Wilson had an easy play there.
I tell you, the pursuit that time of the Eagles was outstanding. Boy, they took off and ran, had good pursuit angles, and Brenard Wilson, number 22, came in and stuffed it very well at the line of scrimmage.
And Ron Springs couldn't get out of the way. We will not get another play off. There's the gun, and that is the end of the first quarter. So a rivalry which has been intense in the past between Dallas and Philadelphia. We have completed one quarter here at the home opener, Texas Stadium, for the Cowboys, who lead the Eagles 3-0. Here at Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, Dick Stockton and Hank Stram. We start the second quarter with the Dallas Cowboys leading the Philadelphia Eagles 3-0. It's 3rd and 10 for the Cowboys on their 18-yard line. Anthony Dickerson on the sidelines, waiting to go in and do some work.
He's got his own bodyguard there too. You see the badge on that athlete behind him?
6 defensive backs in there for the Eagles. Hogaboom up the middle. Donnelly can't hold on to it. It was there, and it'll be 4th down, and we will see Danny White come in to punt again.
Doug Donnelly is not playing as recklessly as he normally plays. He's running kind of soft, and it's understandable. He's got a bad leg, and I'm surprised that they continue to use him, but because he's not going to be very effective if he continues to play this way and concern himself with that pull.
There is Evan Cooper, and the Eagles could get their best field position. Danny White, who is, you were talking about Danny White, what kind of a class guy he is. He's not been happy with things, but has kept his mouth shut.
Well, he's too great a competitor, and you can understand what he feels. They've won 75% of the games with him at quarterback.
Evan Cooper at the 42 gets by one man and into Dallas territory, brings it into the 43-yard line where he's tackled by Jeff Rora. A 16-yard return by the rookie Evan Cooper, and the Eagles have their best field position when we come back in a moment. It has been a monotonous afternoon so far for the Philadelphia Eagles offensively.
It really has been. Ted Marchibroda is calling the plays from the sideline. They haven't had good field position. See how they start this drive. See if they throw the ball on 1st and 10.
They're at the 43-yard line of Dallas, by far their best field position of the game, trailing 3-0. And he's going to throw. 1st down, and it's batted down at the line of scrimmage. And the Cowboys were looking for the interception. Dutton trying to get a deflection. I think it was Too Tall Jones, Ed Jones. He always seems to be the guy to get a hand up there. We'll find out who it is. There's Ted Marchibroda.
Yeah, the former head coach of the Baltimore Colts, and he's been around with a lot of teams, and they respect him very much. They like him very much. One thing that Jaworski said about him was that nothing fancy. He has just analyzed very carefully what they do best, and that's what this team is going to try to do. They're not going to worry about anything else. Just do what we do best, and it's going to be interesting to see how well they do that this afternoon.
So far, they haven't done all that well. You saw the total yardage for the first quarter. 2nd down and 10 at the 43. Here's a pass dropped by Spagnuolo, the tight end. So Jaworski got the ball on the money to his tight end, who last week caught 8 passes, a high for him in his career, but not there. And now Ron is 1 for 9.
Well, I think that kind of a pass, and when you throw a ball in the flat to a back or a tight end in the middle area, the ideal place to throw the ball is right at the numbers and below the shoulder pads or below the head. Minute you have to reach high for a ball, you're wide open, you have a tough time to regain your balance, and a lot of times those balls are tipped and wind up being interceptions.
So you're saying that was not a good pass?
Well, he should have caught it, but the ideal thing should have been to throw the ball to numbers. That's where it should be, for those tight ends to make a good catch and run with it.
The Eagles have not converted on 3rd downs yet. They haven't moved at all on the 43. Jaworski looking right, throwing left, and turning around is Kenny Jackson. He was defended by Ron Fellows. He got turned around there. So once again, despite the good field position, Ron Jaworski, it's 3 plays and kick.
Yes, the old Lawrence Welk offense, a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and kick. But you know, the thing about good quarterbacks like Jaworski, they're going to have a bad quarter or maybe even 2 bad quarters, but they're not going to have 4 bad quarters very often. And I think he'll settle down and do much better as the game progresses.
Allen is back. Horan will kick again. He's had a busy day so far. Just the start of the second quarter. Short kick going for the corner. And Allen is going to look at it go out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Well, Horan knew what he was doing. It was a low punt, and it went out of bounds at the 1. You can't ask for anything better than that. And the Cowboys are backed up. There's Marion Campbell, the head coach of the Eagles, on the left, and he told us yesterday that without question the Eagles have a much better attitude this year. We asked them why. He said, well, a lot of the veterans are tired of losing.
Yeah, and plus the fact he said the line is healthy, they're running better, Mike Haddock's doing a good job, and Montgomery is back, makes a big difference.
1st and 10 on the 1-yard line, trying to get out of trouble in the middle. Dorsett maybe a yard, and that's all. Hogeboom.
I think this is a good place to throw the ball on 1st and 10, or if you run the ball, stick it at him on 1st and 10 to try to get out of the soup on a 2nd down play. Let's see if they try to employ that kind of strategy here.
2nd and 9. Hogeboom in the opening game against the Rams had 33 completions to break Danny White's record. He's 5 for 12 for 82 yards. Dorsett dives to about the 6-yard line. Dorsett has gained 41 yards in the ball game before that play. It'll be 3rd down now, and a big down for the Eagles defense.
You know, it's very obvious in this portion of the field. Both teams have been very conservative, and both teams are very fearful. They don't want to lose the game. If they're going to be on the short end of the stick, they feel they're going to get beat, but they don't want to lose and make a mistake in this portion of the field and wind up giving the other team good field position. And I think this has been expressed by both teams so far.
Waddell Smith, one of the new receivers, comes out on the same side as Donnelly. Renfrow to the right, 3rd down and 6. Hogeboom trying to get out of trouble, and a near interception, and that would have been 6 points, I think. Brenard Wilson saying, why couldn't I hold on to that? Wilson had it picked off on a pass intended for Cosby.
Good anticipation, too, on the part of Brenard Wilson. He just did not catch the ball. He was right there. They were
coming in, calls for the fair catch. Did it hit him?
No, I don't think it did.
Cowboys will down it at the 40-yard line, and it did not hit Cooper, but it was awfully close, Hank.
That's what happens when there's indecision. You got to make a decision. You got to make a decision to catch the football and get a good jump.
Or get away from it.
He didn't have good anticipation at all. A little hesitant, got there way too late, tried to get away from it. Luckily, it did not hit him.
So it'll be 1st and 10 Eagles after that 35-yard kick just inside the 40 when we come back. Cowboys lead the Eagles 3-0, and the Eagles continually get better field position, although they have come up empty every time. Last time they had the ball starting the drive on the Dallas 43. Now it's at the Cowboys 39. Michael Haddix, who was the #1 draft pick last year out of Mississippi State, and a good receiver out of the backfield, is the up back in the eye. Wilbert Montgomery is the deep back at the 39-yard line. Ron Jaworski to Montgomery. Jeffcoat is right there, and if anything, a loss of a yard on the play. So they go to run on the 1st down. And Hank, the point you made is that these teams seem to be playing not to win but not to lose instead.
Well, so far they're very, very cautious. No question about that. And that time, what they did, they ran a counterplay to get the movement of the middle linebacker to go one way and run the ball to the other side. Jeffcoat, number 77, was right there and stuffed the play.
The Giants, when they had opportunities, you remember last week, went for the pass and went for the downs and scored many times. Now it's 2nd and 10 at the 39-yard line. Jaworski throwing on 2nd and 10. And it's intercepted by Michael Downs. Downs running it back, tackled at the 35. So Ron Jaworski, who came into the game having thrown 70 passes without an interception, has had 2 picked off in this game. This one by Michael Downs.
That time he had nothing on the ball. It looked like it might have slipped out of his hand. It was a very lazy spiral. Look at it. Trying to hit Spagnola on the outside. Michael Downs comes up with the interception, and the Dallas Cowboys have possession on their own 30.
A 47-yard field goal by Rafael Septien, the only scoring. That was in the 1st quarter. We have 11:56 to play in the half. Following the interception by Downs, 1st and 10 Cowboys on the 35. Ron Springs went in motion. Tony Dorsett finds a hole up the middle, and Dorsett brings it out to the 42-yard line. A gain of 8. Wes Hopkins, the free safety, makes the tackle on Dorsett. Wes Hopkins, who crunching defensive player, but if he's going to be making all the tackles back there, that's not what the Eagles are looking for.
Well, that time they sold him on the idea they were going to go to the right. Ran a counter play. Jim Cooper, number 61, the right tackle, was pulling on the play. Watch what happens now. Look at Cooper, number 61, gets a piece of the linebacker, number 59, Joelle Williams, and Dorsett popped through there for a nice game.
2nd and 2, Springs in motion. Hogeboom looking downfield, completed pass. Mike Renfrow, and a first down at the 36-yard line. So Mike Renfrow hit by Ray Ellis. Hogeboom was determined to go downfield. He had the halfback on the swing.
Yeah, watch this now. He steps up into the pocket, and Renfrow really makes a fine catch coming across the middle. And the key again, the ball was just where it had to be, right on the number. Watch him. Comes off the line of scrimmage, gets behind a double coverage. The linebacker goes in front of Bernard Wilson. The ball is right at the numbers, catches it in stride, and picks up a big first down for the Cowboys.
At the 36 of Philadelphia. Play action, Hogeboom. Going up on top for Donnelly, and it's knocked down. Double coverage. It was Wes Hopkins who actually knocked the ball down, and Doug Donnelly, White Lightning they call him, had beaten the secondary. The pass just couldn't get to him.
I think Renfrow, and I think the Cowboys thought they were going to get different coverage than they actually got. Bernard Wilson was covering, and the safety came over from the backside. Number 49 made a big play and knocked the ball down. It wasn't really, it was 48, Wes Hopkins, number 48.
Second down and 10 at the 36. That's what Hogeboom has done so far in this ball game. In motion is Mike Renfrow. Here's Dorsett. Lineman in front of him, and he is upended. Penalty marker is thrown in the backfield, the secondary that is, as Dorsett got inside the 35. Ray Ellis makes the play, and holding against the Dallas Cowboys. So that will send them back. Keep in mind that right now they are in field goal range for Septien, who has kicked a 52-yarder, but they're going to be moved back on this penalty.
Kurt Peterson, number 65, was out in front, pulling, missed a block.
Holding, offense, number 84, second down.
Doug Cosby holding, so it is still second down, and the ball is back up at the 46-yard line. Cosby has had good games against Philadelphia. He has meant trouble for the Eagles in the past, but he told us in practice that the Eagle defenders have been holding up the tight end more.
Yeah, they're putting the pressure on him, stuffing him at the line of scrimmage, and as a result, he's not getting as much of a free release as he'd like, and he can't get into those zones nearly as quickly as he has in the past.
Second down, 20. Cosby goes in motion, and the flag. Illegal procedure against the Dallas Cowboys, another penalty against Dallas.
And that's one way not to get jammed, talking about Cosby and the tight end. That time they sent him in motion, and it's hard to jam him unless you could put a 12th man in there, cover him with 12 people.
That's been done.
It has been, yeah.
I'm sure you did that a lot with Kansas City.
Never got caught.
That's the idea, too. So now the Cowboys have been backed up to their own territory to the 49-yard line. They had the ball at the 36 of the Eagles. So they're 15 yards back now. It is still second down, but second in that much, 25. Cosby again in motion. Hogeboom with a deep drop up the middle. The pass is caught by Ron Springs, but he is caught back at the 49-yard line, so no gain on the play.
Ken Clark came very close to making an interception on that. It was a middle screen. Number 71, 6'2", 255 from Syracuse, and it looked like he might get a chance to make that interception, but just didn't.
Clark comes out, as you saw, in the Eagles' pass defense. Armstrong and Byron Darby come in up front. Fowles and Cooper in the secondary. Third down and 24. Tough spot for Hogeboom with 9:40 to play in the first half. Hogeboom going up to Cosby, who makes the catch, and Cosby is tackled at the 34-yard line. It'll be fourth down after that 17-yard pickup, but Septien will come in to try for 3.
You can't make a better play as far as coverage is concerned than Bernard Wilson that time. He was all over him, but Cosby, in spite of that, still made the catch.
So that was a good play for the Cowboys, even though they did not get the first down, because now it gives Septien a chance to give Dallas a 6-0 lead.
It's very obvious that Hogeboom really looks at the intended receiver. He's got such a great arm that he doesn't think it matters that much. He just gets the ball on the money.
This will be a 51-yard attempt, Hank. Hogeboom is holding. Septien has kicked one from 52 this year, and this kick is good. Well, he missed from 29. I guess he only likes to kick from midfield, right?
He likes those long ones.
It's 6-0 Dallas on a 51-yarder. Cowboys lead at 6-0. Septien with field goals of 47 and 51 yards. With 8:48 to play in the first half, will be kicking off. Joe Hayes is deep for the Eagles out of Central State in Oklahoma. And a good kick. 3 yards in the end zone. Hayes running it out. Spinning it out. Still going, and Hayes takes it out to the 26-yard line. A good return by Joe Hayes of the Eagles. Well, CBS Sports Saturday has quite a fight coming up on September 29th at 3:30 Eastern Time. It'll be Jerry Cooney against Phil Brown, a 10-round heavyweight bout, and that's Cooney. First appearance since losing his bid to take the heavyweight title from Larry Holmes back in '82.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interest in Cooney, especially because he hasn't fought for so long, and he was an undefeated heavyweight contender, and they're anxious to see whether he can do anything now after this much of a layoff.
3 postponements caused by injuries to his hand and shoulder, but he's going to make it against Phil Brown September 29th. Carrying the ball for the Eagles, Wilbert Montgomery up the middle for a couple. Last week against Minnesota, Montgomery broke Steve Van Buren's all-time Eagle rushing record, over 6,800 yards. And Wilbert Montgomery, who did not play much in preseason, they held him out and got a good look at a rookie Andre Hardy, who they're impressed with. And Montgomery, you know, really was kept out of preseason action, so he should be in good shape.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. He missed almost all of last season. They wanted to make sure he was totally ready because he's a very, very important ingredient in their offensive scheme of things.
2nd down and 5 at the 30. Penalty flag is thrown, and once again Montgomery up the middle.
Jeffcoat, I think, was offside on the play, number 77, the defensive right end.
Eagle Eye Stram right there. The Eagles, by the way, have averaged less than 1.5 yards per play, and Ron Jaworski, who completed his first pass, has missed his next 10.
I've never seen him have that kind of an afternoon. Here we see it.
Defense, number 76, 2nd down.
So it'll be 2nd down. I think it was Jeffcoat, 77.
Yeah, they must have called Altman for being outside on the bench. He's sitting on the bench, and they must have saw him move over there. They call it on Altman. He was 70,
yeah.
77.
He might have moved, but from one side of the bench to the other.
That's right.
2nd down and 1. Up the middle. And 1st down for the Eagles. Petey Perreault blocking up ahead for Wilbert Montgomery, who's gotten the call in every play but one of the rushing plays so far.
You know, interestingly enough, talking to Jaworski yesterday, he said that they definitely felt they had to throw the ball on 1st and 10. They've had possession on 1st and 10 9 times. They've only thrown the ball 3 times on those situations and only completed 1 pass.
1st and 10 at the 37-yard line for the Eagles, trailing 6-0. 7:17 to go. Michael Haddix is in the ball game as the lone setback, and here's a blitz coming up and a quick pass, and the pass is caught, and the whistle blows. That was Kenny Jackson, and he is close to a 1st down. And so Jaworski read the blitz well, Hank.
Well, he read it. Yeah, he read it, and the receiver, Kenny Jackson, broke off the pattern. It's a sight adjustment pattern, meaning that he sees the safety and the linebacker's blitzing. He breaks off his pattern, and he threw the ball right on the money inside, and it was a sensational catch by Kenny Jackson. You see the safety man blitzing, Michael Downs, number 26, and also the linebacker. He read it perfectly.
Tell you more about Kenny Jackson, who they expect big things of. He's got a lot of speed. 1st and 10, 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. Eagles driving. They're on their own 47-yard line. And now another flag and another penalty, and this one appears to be against the Eagles, and it is. Petey Perreault, the left guard, might have moved and drawn the Cowboys offside.
Offense, number 62, 1st down.
Perreault is playing for the injured Steve Kenny, who's one of the better offensive linemen the Eagles have. Perreault, out all of last year, was a starter on Philadelphia's Super Bowl team a few years ago.
And they said yesterday, talking to Campbell, said he really wasn't concerned about Perreault playing because he's always played pretty well against Randy White.
1st down and 15. Back on the 42 for the Eagles. Cowboys lead 6-0. Home opener for the Cowboys. Jaworski swings it out to Haddix. Has to turn around to make the catch. And as a result, doesn't get anything going. And there's a loss on the play. Back to the 40-yard line, 45-yard line.
See, that kind of a pass should be thrown about 1.5 yards out in front at the number so he can catch it in stride and run up the field and see what the defense is doing, and he can react accordingly. That time he had to come back for the ball. By the time he rights himself and tries to get upfield, while he loses a lot of valuable time, plus the fact that the pursuit is able to come over and make the play.
Of course, the Eagles, more weapons, obviously, with Montgomery and Spagnuolo back, but the whole idea is to protect Jaworski. If he doesn't get protection, forget about everything. 2nd and 12. Ball at the 45-yard line. Jaworski up the middle. Spagnuolo, the tight end, close to a first down. Michael Downs brings John Spagnuolo down, a 13-yard pickup, and it looks to be a first down. And it is for the Philadelphia Eagles. Spagnuolo was out all of last year with back surgery, and he caught the winning touchdown last week against the Minnesota Vikings.
You know, he's big and he's strong. He's 6'4" and 240. He's like a loose tackle playing tight end, but he has a great capacity to get open and catch the ball once it's thrown to him.
This is the Eagles' best march of the game. 1st and 10, Haddix off the left side. Picks up 2 yards, and that's all. Michael Downs and Anthony Dickerson make the play. So it'll be 2nd down and about 8. You saw the San Francisco 49ers leading the New Orleans Saints 17-0. The Giants in Washington, the Redskins lead the Giants in the 2nd quarter 10-7. Detroit over Tampa Bay in the 2nd quarter.
Well, they lost a tough one last week, talking about Tampa Bay. Look at the Rams and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh now 14-7 over the Rams.
San Diego all over Houston.
They evidently don't miss Chuck Muncie very much.
Guess not. 2nd down and 8 at the 40-yard line. Under 5 minutes to play in the first half. Jaworski up the middle. Spagnuolo with the catch, diving forward, and may have another first down. They like Spagnuolo because somehow, some way, Hank, he always gets open. And he did there.
Yeah, he's a very determined player, and he reads coverages very well at the tight end position. They like him so well that he designed a play. They just call it 3 open, let him get open. There you see it. Back in the pocket, pressure, White inside, Dutton inside, throws the ball to Spagnuolo, but he gets upfield as quickly as he possibly can and gets the most out of the play and gets the first down.
So quietly and inexorably, the Eagles moving the ball. They're now at the Cowboy 32-yard line. Spagnuolo, tight end. With that reception, they go to Mike Quick, his first reception of the ball game, and a first down inside the 20. And you might ask, where have they been hiding him? Well, they've been waiting for that play. Well, 16 yards.
They had single coverage that time, and the safety man was up on the line of scrimmage. They held him with a fake. Quick had a lot of room on the inside of the corner, and he got the ball. Look at play action, fake inside, plenty of time. Boy, he throws the ball right on the money in front of and inside of Everson Walls, number 24.
Mike Quick last year led the NFL in receiving yards, over 1,400. He runs all the intricate patterns for the Eagles. 1st and 10 for Philadelphia on the 16 of Dallas. Here's Montgomery. Jeffcoat hits him, and now everyone else, including John Dutton. So they're stopping the run effectively. That's one thing Dallas is doing, Hank.
They really are, and here again it was another counter play. They fake it one way and go back to the left. Ron Baker, number 63, the guard, gets a good trap block on the play. But in spite of that, while they stuff it in good shape, Jeffcoat gets a piece of the tackle, and so does Randy White, number 54.
Montgomery comes out of the game, and Vito Cab, number 84, second tight end, is in there. It'll be 2nd down and 10. 2:45 remain in the half.
They had a bump and run initially. I thought they'd try to go up on top with Mike Quick, but they backed off.
Jaworski up the middle, and Kenny Jackson with Michael Downs, and Ron Fellows defending almost was able to hold on to that. They were going for 6 right there to Jackson. It'll be 3rd and 10.
It was a deceptive defensive play because they lined up on the line of scrimmage like he was going to be bump and run, and you like to throw up on top anytime you see that happen, but they backed off at the last minute. There was a slight adjustment pattern run on the play, meaning that he changed his course, ran inside, and almost got away with it for a touchdown.
That's the time remaining in the first half. Kenny Jackson, who Jaworski told us yesterday is going to be a great receiver, but he's got just a raw talent right now. And now the Eagles call their first timeout. They have 2 remaining, and a good time for the timeout in a 6-0 ball game, and 3rd and 10. Well, college football next Saturday on CBS Sports, 3:30 Eastern Time. Intersectional battle between the Nebraska Cornhuskers and UCLA. Last year it was all Nebraska, 42-10. And so UCLA, a lot of people think they could eventually be the national champions.
I talked to Coach Donahue before the season. He was very, very excited about his team, and I think he thinks they've got a great chance to do a big job.
Nebraska can roll it up over a lot of folks, can't they?
Oh, they murder. They're murder. They ought to be in a professional league. They're big and they're strong, and they got good folks. Uh-oh, there's Coach Landry walking up and down the sideline, very excited about what's happening.
He never, somebody asked him, how come you never show excitement? He says, I'm always thinking of the next play.
Yeah, and he does. Yeah, he does. He's excited inside, but you don't see it outside. But as I said, talking to him yesterday, he was in a good mood, wasn't he?
He was, but when you're 1-1, you can afford to be in a good mood when the team that beat you last year is 0-2.
And of course, the other thing is, and I think he feels within the framework of the division, he doesn't think anybody's going to dominate. He still feels that the Washington Redskins are the best team in this division. They're the team to beat, is what he said yesterday.
3rd down and 10. Jaworski completed his first pass, then missed 10 straight, has come back some.
Got the 7 defensive backs in there.
Montgomery in motion. Jaworski has some time. His pass is caught by Mike Quick, and he's going to go in for the touchdown. Mike Quick, who did not play last week, and as he said yesterday to us, he says, well, it's America's team. We just have to beat Dallas. He was excited about the game, and now what is Kenny Jackson complaining about? A penalty flag has been thrown, and I wonder what it's all about. They're lining up as if a point extra is going to be attempted.
Officials are talking it over.
Could be a taunting penalty. Chuck Heverling may tell us that it was the taunting rule.
We have an unsportsmanlike conduct against the offensive team after the score. The 5-yard penalty will be enforced on a kickoff. It is a touchdown.
It is a touchdown, unsportsmanlike conduct, and that is the taunting penalty which went into effect this season. And you're looking at Paul Mcfadden, the barefooted kicker, 12th round draft choice from Youngstown State. That's where Jaworski, the holder, is from.
You know who the first barefooted kicker was?
Who?
Joe Kulikakui from the University of Hawaii.
Oh, I thought so. The extra point is good, and the Eagles have taken a 7-6 lead. They'll mark the penalty off on the kickoff.
Here we see, watch Clinksdale blitzing on the play. I don't know whether you see him or not. Jaworski stays in there tough, and Victor Scott is covering on the play. Quick runs an inside pattern right on the money, touchdown. Watch Quick, watch Thurman, 32. He cuts in front of Thurman. The ball is right on the money. He makes the catch, and
let's see what he does now. There's no problem, right?
No problem.
Now it's a problem.
Now, there we go.
Now it's more of a problem.
Now we got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. They say it's pretty. Now Kenny Jackson says, wait a second. But you know what? The way the Eagles have been playing, I don't blame them for doing that now. Do you? After the way their offense is.
Yeah, you're right.
This is a big thing for them. And the Eagles have now taken a 7-6 lead over the Cowboys with 2:28 showing.
That display showed happiness. Justifiably so.
Nothing wrong with being happy, right?
Yep, and enthusiastic.
This team was 5-11 last year, the Eagles were. Mike Quick, great addition to this ball club out of North Carolina State. And of course, Marion Campbell said when they first looked at films of him before they drafted him, all they saw were blocking film.
Yeah, that was a funny story, wasn't it? When he talked about that.
McFadden kicking off.
Looking for a receiver, and all you see him do is block.
Gary Allen bringing it back. Allen still going out to the 37-yard line. 26-yard return by Gary Allen. Brings the ball out. Here's a scoring drive capped by the 16-yard touchdown pass. Ron Jaworski. Next week, this is what we've got in store for you. It's a doubleheader week. The first game, you'll see one of these contests. San Francisco, Philadelphia, St. Louis and New Orleans, Minnesota, Detroit. The Redskins travel to New England. The second game will be the Packers against these Cowboys. Chicago at Seattle. Tampa Bay at the New York Giants. Check your local listings for what game you'll see in your area. It all starts with the NFL today. 1st and 10 Cowboys. Pass to Ron Springs. First down and out of bounds. You know, you can be glowing in the touchdown, and before you know it, the Cowboys can be knocking on your door again.
That's the one thing about the Cowboys. They always have been a big play team. They look like they're sleepwalking a lot of the times during the course of a game, look very unimpressive, and all of a sudden you look up and Dorsett or somebody makes a big play and they're right back in the game.
2:13 to go. Cowboys have all 3 of their timeouts left, and of course they're going to get the extra edge of the 2-minute warning. They're in Eagle territory at the 49. Eagles 7, Cowboys 6. Jaworski to Quick, 16 yards, the only touchdown in the game so far. Ogbuh flushed out, batted up, and that might have been Dennis Harrison who got a hand on it. He really pushed back the Dallas offensive line, right side.
We got a replay of this coming up. Anthony Griggs, number 58, is blitzing on the play, but he's very hesitant, very tentative. He doesn't really get good penetration. There you see him try to throw the ball, and number 68, Dennis Harrison, knocked the ball down.
He really pushed Jim Cooper back. Cooper has been the most consistent offensive lineman, according to Tom Landry. But it's 2nd and 10, 2:09 on the clock. Ogbuh going to the sideline, and it's almost intercepted. Brenard Wilson has had 2 big chances for interceptions, including that one.
There again, he went right back into the pocket and looked to the right all the way. Watch it. Here's Donnelly going downfield against Brenard Wilson. Gets him out of the backdrop. Turns him. The ball is thrown to the outside, and it was tripped. Donnelly looked like he might have tripped on the play, but in spite of that, he looked the ball in that area all the way. And I think that's why Bernard Wilson got such a good jump on the ball.
3rd down 10. That's what Ogbuh has done so far today. Waddell Smith, number 86, is the 3rd wide receiver. To the left. Ogbuh looking his way. The pass is caught by Ron Springs. And a first down for the Cowboys at the 37-yard line. And we're going to have our 2-minute warning now. So the Cowboys are in good position. Edwards and Wilson both made the tackle. So we have the 2-minute warning now. Cowboys trail by 1. And they have the ball 1st and 10 on the Philadelphia 37 when we come back. The Cowboys have all of their timeouts remaining, and Philadelphia putting in their defense, and they're going with the 4-men front. Harrison, Armstrong, Darby, and Greg Brown. There's the timeout story on the clock. So, Hank, I guess they want to put some pressure on Gary Ogbuh and prevent a score and maybe get them out of field goal range if they can.
They better put pressure on him.
1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. Going right to the shotgun on 1st and 10, and the pass, and a good catch by Waddell Smith. It was behind him, but Smith made the play. He was on the receiving end of many of Warren Moon's tosses with Edmonton in the Canadian League, and they won several Grey Cup titles up there.
They went to 4 specifically for Edmonton.
Lining up without a huddle, and now the Dallas Cowboys. We have a whistle, and now we have an injury. Herman Edwards is limping off.
You know, in Canada, talking about Waddell Smith, he caught 42 passes for 5,517 yards and 51 touchdowns. Boy, that's a lot of, we're at a lot of shoes doing that, don't you?
And he was with the Raiders this year.
And was the last one to get cut. right before cutdown date.
And so, you know, the Raiders have an abundance of wide receivers, and so this might have been a smart move for the Cowboys.
Well, I think it really was, and I think anytime, you know, anybody goes to the Raiders, you know, he must possess good speed or else they don't look at you. And so he's got that great speed, and he could help the Cowboys.
The other wide receiver that the Dallas Cowboys have brought along recently is a familiar face to Philadelphia fans and the Eagles, Harold Carmichael, the veteran in his 13th year, who is in uniform and hasn't gotten into the game yet. There he is, number 17.
He said yesterday, be sure and say hello to my wife, Bee, and my family. I've been away from home for a while. Be sure and tell them all's going well and best wishes.
Well, why don't you go do that, Hank?
I'm going to do it again. Let's go through that again. Let's do that.
Yeah, Harold Carmichael, not quite in shape, they say, as well as Waddell Smith is at this point, but there he is, Harold Carmichael, in a strange situation, being with the enemy, watching his old team.
But he's excited about having the opportunity to play again. The great thing about he's got a lot of class, no sour grapes about Philadelphia. He just wants to do a good job for the Cowboys.
That timeout the Eagles had to call, so the Eagles helped the Cowboys with a timeout. Here is a handoff to Tony Dorsett out of the spread offense, and Dorsett will stop the clock if nothing else. And now they say the clock is running at the 28-yard line. 1:27 showing. Dorsett has gained 53 yards.
One time that you very rarely see him make a mistake as far as running is concerned. That time he had a chance to go inside and he chose to go outside. He would have made a lot more yardage going inside.
Elbert Fowles drove him out of bounds. Let's check some scores for you. The Cowboys have called a timeout. They have 2 remaining. Redskins over the Giants 13-7, and they're in the second quarter in Washington.
And Detroit still leads Tampa 14-7, but Tampa evidently is playing a very good game.
Steelers continue over the Rams 14-7. Ferragamo is out, and Jeff Kemp is the quarterback.
And look at San Diego 28-7 over Houston. Boy, they're playing strong. Very explosive as they normally are.
Vince Ferragamo has gotten off to a very rough start this year for the Rams, and he is hurt, and Jeff Kemp, the backup, is in the ball game now. The score is 14-7 in favor of the Steelers. It is a hand injury.
There's Marion Campbell shouting encouragement to his team. Chuck Clausen is also on his side, along with Fred Bruni, who also is the assistant to the head coach.
It'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Cowboys. 1:22 showing on the clock. They have 2 timeouts remaining. They're on the Eagle 28-yard line and trailing Philadelphia 7-6. Salonen, the tight end, in motion. Ron Springs has a first down to the 25. Ken Clark, the nose tackle, makes the play. And now the Cowboys call another timeout. They have 1 remaining as Gary Hogeboom goes to the sidelines. Coming up at halftime, Brent and Irv and legends of the game. Guy that starred here, Bob Hayes, the great wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, I'll never forget Hayes. He had, you know, lightning speed. And, of course, we were playing him in Kansas City one year in our old stadium, and it was a very close game. They were on about the 10-yard line. Craig Morton was the quarterback. They ran an automatic. We were in a blitzing situation, and he ran a slant pass, and I thought he was going to run right through the tunnel. He ran about 90 yards for the touchdown. Was still running the last time I saw him.
You know, this is the 25th anniversary of the Dallas Cowboys, also the 25th anniversary this year of the American Football League. And Hank Stram, who is the winningest coach in the American Football League, you started right here with that league right here in Dallas.
Yes, right back here in Dallas is right. We started in the Cotton Bowl, and we had a lot of laughs and a lot of fun, a lot of fond memories.
Then you had to go to Kansas City and win a Super Bowl.
Well, that was fun, too.
1st and 10 for the Cowboys at the 25, 1:17 remaining. They have 1 timeout left. Hogeboom is gone for 6 to Ron Springs. He's got it. Touchdown. Touchdown. Five-yard play, Hank.
What happened on the play, Anthony Griggs, 58, was covering man for man. That's what you want. Watch 58. He's covering number 20, Springs. Watch it. Man for man. Plenty of time to throw the ball. Look at it. And he just can't do it. It's a tough responsibility if you don't get a good pass rush for Anthony Griggs, the linebacker, to cover Ron Springs. They change the scoreboard, and they get 6 on the board.
Ron Springs caught more passes amongst running backs in the NFL than anyone else last year. And now Hogeboom holding for Septien. And the kick is good, and so with 1:11 on the clock, the Dallas Cowboys have regained the lead. It is 13-7, and Septien, with 2 field goals and an extra point now, with 601 points for his career, is the leading scorer in Dallas Cowboy history.
How about Septien? Yesterday at practice, all he talked about was playing racquetball. He wanted to play racquetball for a little bit. He had about an hour off, and he's a good one. He's a champion. There's no way in the world I was going to play him.
And of course, he has, fond memories for you. I know that you and Septien go way back.
Well, yes, we drafted in number 6 when I was in New Orleans, and we thought he was going to be a great kicker. But at that time, he had a long way to go, and he went a long way. He went from New Orleans to Los Angeles, which is a long way. And then from there, he came back to Dallas, and he's really earned the right to be one of the great kickers in professional football.
Got to watch you. Got to watch you. Septien will kick off, and let's see what the Eagles can do in 1:11. They'll probably show it. There's Hayes back, a 2-minute offense that if they had used that all game, they might have piled up some more points. Who knows? Anyway, it'll be Septien kicking off to Joe Hayes. 13-7, the Cowboys lead. For Hogeboom, that was his 3rd touchdown pass of the season. Kick is short on the far side. Major Everett bringing it back, spinning his way, and gets to the 25-yard line, where 1:06 remain. And now Billy Cannon, the rookie from Texas A&M and a linebacker, and looks like Lawrence Sampleton, one of the tight ends of the Eagles, saying I guess they both played in Texas, didn't they? Sampleton was at Texas and Cannon at Texas A&M.
Yeah, they're maintaining that rivalry, and I talked to Billy yesterday. Had a nice visit with him about his situation. He's excited about what his situation is here in Dallas. Plus the fact we had a nice visit about his daddy, who used to play for us. He was a great player for the Houston Oilers, the Oakland Raiders, and also for us in Kansas City.
Here's Heberling.
Unnecessary roughness, number 52 on the white, number 87 on the green. They will offset. They were after the dead ball. First down.
Offsetting penalties. Here's the scoring drive for the Cowboys. Didn't take long, did it? 1:17, and Ron Springs, 25 yards. There he is. Dallas Cowboys is lined up just about everywhere. They use him as a motion man. He can be a wide receiver. He can be a wing back in the slot.
You don't realize how big he is. He's 6'1", 218.
Jaworski out of the shotgun, 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Pressure. Fires. Caught by Wilbert Montgomery. Puts the straight arm on Victor Scott, and they're out of bounds at the 38-yard line and stops the clock. Stops the clock with 59 seconds to go. That was a 14-yard pickup.
Montgomery doesn't look like he lost anything since the last time we saw him play. He's a great competitor and really gives this offense a dimension that they need desperately. You know, one thing that's impressive about the Eagles is that they're staying within what they do well. And we talked about this a little while ago. Jaworski said that we're not going to deviate from what we do best. And I think they've stayed with that plan, and this is the program I think that Teddy Marchibroda has tried to install, and I think he's done it well.
1st and 10 with 59 seconds to play. They've got 1 timeout left. Montgomery going out on a swing pass. Holds onto it. Montgomery to the 45 and goes out of bounds at midfield. Another first down and another penalty thrown.
Boy, he caught that at the end of the ball that time. Looked like it had a little hook on it. But it was a great catch, but it looks like it's a penalty against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ineligible receiver downfield for Philadelphia. That hurts because they weren't in bad shape at midfield with the clock stopped. But that'll be nullified.
Number 65, ineligible receiver downfield on the pass. First down.
Mark Dennard, who's a former Miami Dolphin center and was a starter there a couple of years, and then Dwight Stevenson, the All-Pro, came along. He was downfield, so it'll be 1st down and 20. Back to the 29-yard line. That's the score. The Cowboys leading 13-7. They led 6-0 on a couple of field goals by Septien, long ones. Philadelphia came back with a touchdown before Dallas regained the lead.
I think centers like to play against Dallas because they don't have anybody on their nose, and it's kind of a Sunday off as far as that responsibility is concerned.
Does that again, he'll get next Sunday off. 1st and 20, Jaworski going for Quick. Actually, they had Quick and Jackson in the same area. 2nd down on the incompletion.
And Too Tall Jones that time got through there with pretty good penetration. Well, he's starting to pick up a little bit. He started slowly, but as I mentioned earlier, you're not going to, a great quarterback like Jaworski, he's going to have some bad moments, but he's not going to have them for 4 quarters. And I think that's a proven fact so far, because he has come back and played much, much better.
And Hank, the big thing, too, is that he has stayed on his feet. He was sacked 53 times last year, and so far 5 times, none so far in this game. 2nd down and 20, 47 seconds remaining in the first half.
7 defensive backs again.
That's that 4-0 defense. Jaworski, and it was a low pass. Montgomery couldn't handle it. It'll be 3rd and 20. Now that 4-0 defense we've been talking a lot about, and basically there are 7 defensive backs. Here's how they play, Hank.
Yes, they have 4 defensive linemen. Of course, Dexter Klingsdale plays a linebacker, and he's a safety, and Victor Scott a linebacker, and he plays a safety. Now you see Everson Walls, he plays a corner, Fellows a corner, and Carl Howard, number 21, a corner. That's what they're doing. They're trying, and here we got Michael Downs also. It's a safety position along with Dennis Thurman.
So they use the 7 backs, and of course 2 of them, though, are blitzing linebackers.
And they're trying to lick those 2 linebackers, 2 defensive backs who are playing like linebackers. They've had people open, but they haven't got the ball to them.
3rd and 20, going up on top is Jaworski, and the ball, Tony Woodruff makes the catch, and he's out of bounds with 35 seconds to go at the 33-yard line, a 38-yard gain. He beat Fellows and Downs. Tony Woodruff, a skilled receiver in his 3rd year, made quite a catch.
And that was possible because they did not get a good pass rush. You see, they only had rushed 4 people, dropped back 7. He had plenty of time to throw the ball, and Woodruff made a great catch on the sideline, even though he was double covered that time by Michael Downs on the play, and also Howard.
38-yard gain. Woodruff, whose first reception in the NFL was a touchdown against the Bears. 1st and 10 at the Cowboy 33 with 35 seconds remaining. Eagles still have that 1 timeout in the bank. Jaworski going to the sideline, complete again to Woodruff. Another 1st down. Clock stops again at the 23. The 2-minute offense looks good here, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Here you see him come off the ball that time, breaks it to the outside on Fellows, number 27. The ball is on the money. He makes the catch, number 83, Tony Woodruff. But it's it doesn't make any difference if you don't put pressure on the quarterback. I don't care how many guys you got covering. You got to put the pressure on the quarterback, and they haven't been able to do it with 4 people. We'll be interested to see now if they rush the 2 linebackers.
31 seconds to play in the first half. 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. They are in field goal range.
Here's
the Eagles are. Here comes the blitz. Jaworski getting rid of it, going for Quick, and Jackson, both in the right corner, incomplete. 26 seconds now show on the clock. And Hank, this may be of interest to you. Of the Eagles' 34 plays today, 24 of them have been passes.
Yeah, it really is not a surprise because Jaworski said that he would like to throw the ball. He'd like to throw the ball 40, 45 times a game. Coach Campbell would like to run the ball a little bit more. But with the game being played the way it is with man-for-man coverage, why they're going to throw the ball more. The other interesting thing is at that time they had Klingsdale and Scott blitzing on the play, and that makes all the difference in the world. No, it wasn't Klingsdale, it was Scott blitzing on the play.
They still have that 1 timeout. 3rd down, 2nd down and 10 at the 26-yard line.
4-man rush this time, no blitz.
Pressure, pass intended for Michael Haddix. He was defended by Klingsdale, and it'll be 3rd down and 10 with 22 seconds remaining.
You know, the other thing is, from a quarterback standpoint, when you see the blitz coming, even though you know you're going to change the play or take advantage of 1-for-1 coverage, you still are a little antsy. You know that you're going to have to throw the ball quickly. And for that reason, the anticipation factor is involved. You throw the ball sometimes a little quicker than you should.
What do you do now, 3rd and 10? Do you go for a touchdown attempt, and then if not, then go for Mcfadden for 3?
No, I think you got to try to get the 1st down if you can. Now, if they got the right kind of coverage, they're doubling, so you're going to have to throw the ball inside, it looks like, and try to get the 1st down.
They have to get it inside the 12-yard line for that 1st down.
The area between the hash marks looks like it's
10,
open.
The pass overthrown, intended for Montgomery, and covered by Victor Scott.
Right between the hash marks. That's exactly where it had to be thrown, but it was thrown too high.
So it is 4th down, and now we're going to see Paul Mcfadden come into the ball game to try to bring the Eagles to within 3 points at halftime. He is having a good year, as you can see. He is 6 for 7, and last week against the Minnesota Vikings, he kicked 4 field goals, and the Eagles hadn't done that in a long time. Jaworski will hold. It'll be a 40-yard attempt. 40-yard attempt, 18 seconds remain in the first half. Barefooted kicker from Youngstown State. The kick is up, the kick is good, and Mcfadden makes good again. He is 7 of 8 on the year, and the Eagles have come within 3, 13-10 of the Dallas Cowboys with 14 seconds remaining in the first half. But Hank, the point you made earlier was right about Jaworski, and it shouldn't go unnoticed. He got off to a very rough start, had 2 interceptions, Hegman and Downs, but he's come back and he is cool as a veteran is at this time, and he's brought Philadelphia back into this ball game, and they're very much in it.
You know, the other great thing about there's Ron Jaworski on the sideline now. Delightful guy to talk to and very involved in the program and feels strongly about this team. But the great thing about calling the plays for the sideline is that even though sometimes a quarterback has a bad quarter or so, if he's calling his own plays, sometimes they're a little reluctant to do what they normally do well and come back and throw the ball as much as they should. The coaches are calling the plays and they come right back with a pass, and that helps an awful lot from a morale standpoint.
Mcfadden will be kicking off. Fellows and Allen are back for the Cowboys. Last year it was Tony Franklin to do the place kicking and Max Rudiger the punting, and a new group of rookies in there for Philadelphia, and they look pretty good. Here is Allen at the 5-yard line bringing it back. He has a head of steam going, and Gary Allen is finally brought down by 4 green jerseys at the 33-yard line, and it was Joe Hayes who gets credit for the tackle, a 29-yard return. 7 seconds remaining. Want to remind you, coming up at halftime, Brandon Irv with scores and highlights, and legends of the game, Bob Hayes, who of course is one of maybe the first really great wide receiver. Hank talked about his experience. Bob Hayes with the Dallas Cowboys.
There's still a lot of scorch marks on the field there at the Cotton Bowl where he used to run those deep patterns. Boy, he could really burn the turf.
Ogeboom is 12 for 23 for 178 yards and a touchdown. And here is Springs going down, and that will run out the clock. That is the end of the first half here at Texas Stadium. Tom Landry is seeing his Dallas Cowboys locked in a battle. It's Dallas 13, Philadelphia 10. We'll be back after this. We're back at Texas Stadium. It's the opening game of the year for the Dallas Cowboys, and they lead the Philadelphia Eagles 13-10 in a game that was closer than most people had anticipated. There is Joe Hayes, who will be receiving the second half kickoff from Rafael Septien, who has kicked 2 field goals in the game from 47 and from 51 yards. And we're underway in the second half, and it's going to be Hayes at the 7-yard line running it back, trying to get some room, and Hayes gets room to the 25 and runs into Victor Scott and is down at the 30-yard line. So, Hank, it is 13-10, a lot closer than a lot of people expected, but you pointed out that the teams seem to be playing not to lose more than anything else.
Yeah, I think they're both very conservative in that they're not taking any chances, and I think we'll see a little bit more excitement in the second half. Both teams know what they feel they can do, and they just have to express that ability in the second half. I think basically that's what we have to look for.
Do you think Philadelphia will do anything different because their passing game started to work toward the end of the first half?
I think they're going to try to run Montgomery a little bit more and try to establish an opportunity where they can do more play-action passes.
Michael Haddix is the one running back right now, and he carries and is hit at the line of scrimmage by Eugene Lockhart, the rookie middle linebacker who is playing in place of Bob Bruning, who is in the hospital in traction. So the running game has been really stifled by the Dallas Cowboys.
The one thing about if you can't run, the thing that's a problem, it's a problem, Dick, when you can't run, because you take away the play-action passing game, and that's very, very important, especially on early downs against the Cowboys.
Second down and 9 at the 32-yard line. Haddix again, the back. Second and 9. Jaworski, who's had time, going to Spagnola, the tight end. And it takes a lot to bring him down. He's at the 46-yard line, and a first down. Dexter Clinkscale and Mike Hegman make the tackle. So a 13-yard pickup and a first down for the Philadelphia Eagles. John Spagnola
That's the nice thing about Spagnuolo. That time he had Hegman hanging on him that time as a linebacker, and also Clinkscale. But in spite of that, he found the open area and got in there beautifully for the reception. And Jaworski threw it right on Fan. She's very excited about this game, isn't she?
Well,
or he, the little baby?
She's waiting for the fourth quarter. That's when all the fireworks are going to happen, right? 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line. Montgomery back in the game and carries and brings it into Dallas territory to the 49-yard line and picks up 5 yards on that carry. So Spagnuolo and Montgomery, 2 offensive weapons who didn't get to play all that last year, as Spagnuolo was out all of last season. John Dutton and Eugene Lockhart make the tackle on the play. It'll be 2nd and call it 6.
You know, one thing about Philadelphia, they look like they know what they want to do. There's no desperation involved. Even they were behind, they're just sawing wood and doing what they think they can do, and I think it's going to pay off.
They're in the game. Haddix is the up back. Montgomery in the eye. Quick out to the right. Jackson to the left. Here is Montgomery. Bangs off a defender and picks up a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd down and short. Defensive line with the 4 men, Lockhart and Hegman. The linebackers made the play there, but let's look at the defensive pressure by Dallas.
There you see they're blowing off the ball, trying to get a hat on everybody. There you see the tackle on the inside by Hegman, and Randy White also makes the play.
Montgomery has gained 33 yards and 11 carries in this ball game. He went in as the leading rusher at 118. Philadelphia has been effective in 3rd down conversions lately. 3rd and 2 at the 46. Vito Cab in as a 2nd tight end. And here's Michael Haddix, who has a 1st down for the Eagles at the 42-yard line. So Haddix and Oliver, mostly it's been Haddix instead of Oliver at fullback today. Billy Cannon made the tackle, and we'll get once again with Eugene Lockhart.
Look at Vito Cap, number 84. He's coming off the ball and doing a good job of keeping his block on Billy Cannon, number 52. By the time Cannon falls off the block while the ball carrier is by, and makes some good yardage on the play.
In the first half, Dallas had the big edge in yardage over Philadelphia, 229 to 111. And now the Philadelphia Eagles are calling for a timeout. Look at the 1st down stories, all even at 11-11 after Dallas had a huge edge early. But Eagles call a timeout. We'll be back to Texas Stadium. Hank, is that Hogaboom or Danny White in that drawing? Can you tell?
That's Tom Landry, I can tell you that.
Okay. All right. 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. The Eagles have called a timeout. You see what they've done on 1st down. Both teams haven't done badly on 1st down, as a matter of fact. Jaworski play action, batted down by Ed Jones. Well, he came in like an express train and just batted that ball down. 3 years in a row at the Pro Bowl.
Now, we talked about Leonard Mitchell blocking him early in the game. Let's see what happens here. Mitchell, number 74, he just beats him badly on the outside and jumps up and knocks the ball down.
2nd down and 10. Ed Jones, who's a Dallas nightclub singer, but not during the season, he said. It's strictly off-season moonlighting for him. Not bad either, from what we understand.
Yeah, I heard he was pretty good. Who's going to argue with him, big as he is?
That's a good point. 2nd down 10 at the 42-yard line.
Yeah, who's going to tell him he's bad?
Jaworski has Haddix, but now he goes to Spagnuolo, and he drags Mike Hegman a few yards, and now they're saying it's an incomplete pass. Spagnuolo says, well, I think I dragged my man and caught the ball. And I think the officials may be disagreeing with one another, and we'll find out what they rule. They're ruling it as if it is a completed pass.
Let's take a look at it again. Hegman is all over him, trying to jam him within that 5-yard line area, and then trying to cover him. He makes the catch. Well, he looked like he had possession and then dropped it.
Here's Heberlin.
Caught and dropped after he hit the ground. It's a good catch.
All right. The crowd doesn't like it.
It's back to that same old thing. The ground can create a fumble situation, and evidently that's what they call.
So John Spagnuolo with his 4th reception of the ball game. He has caught 13 on the year, and last year, Hank, Philadelphia tight ends caught only 24 all season.
Well, Spagnola's big and he's strong and he controls that area between the hash marks, and that's what the tight end has to do on this situation.
The boos cascade down here at Texas Stadium. 1st and 10, Eagles on the Cowboy 31, trailing Dallas 13-10. Wilbert Montgomery trying to test the middle and gets nothing. Randy White, but it was Eugene Lockhart also in on the play to knock him down. Well, yeah, Lockhart is really an aggressive linebacker, as we were told.
Michael Haddix, number 26, is blocking on the outside linebacker. Watch him come across there. He gets a block with the wrong shoulder on Dickerson. Tries to run the ball inside, but again, the middle linebacker, Lockhart, number 56, is involved in the play.
Marion Campbell, quiet leader with the Philadelphia Eagles. New faces. We talked about the new ones with Dallas. They've got a lot of new faces, too. 2nd down and 8 at the 29-yard line of the Cowboys. Jaworski has had a good lot of time today, completes the pass to Spagnola, and once again Mike Hegman makes the tackle, but not before Spagnola gets to the 23-yard line, short of a 1st down by a little over a yard.
You know, pretty cute that time. Spagnola's been running inside, and the linebacker Hegman has been banging him all over the place within that 5-yard area. That time, instead of going outside, inside, he went outside, and Hegman was looking for the inside move and didn't cover him nearly as well.
So now the new defensive people are in. Jeff Rohr, middle linebacker, number 50, is coming to the ball game. Mark Tuanay, native of Samoa, a 2nd-year free agent, is also in there. And Billy Cannon, the rookie, at outside linebacker. So it's 3rd down and 2 with exactly 10 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Michael Haddix tries to leap for the 1st down, and it's going to be a close call at the 21-yard line.
It all depends where they mark it, but it looks like there was enough of a surge on that left side to make the 1st down. Let's see what they call it.
By the way, Hank, Ron Jaworski has now gone over 20,000 yards passing for the Eagles during his career.
Got sore fingers. Rub the skin right off his fingers.
They're going to measure. Ron Jaworski with the new offensive coordinator, Ted Marchibroda. The eternal optimist is Jaws, and he has taken his share of blows during his career, hasn't he? They're short by about 4 or 5 inches. It's 4th down, and they're going to go for a field goal attempt. Paul Mcfadden, who hit on a 40-yard field goal earlier, will attempt this from 39 yards and to try to tie the game for the Eagles. Holding is Jaworski. The Youngstown Penguin duo. Jaworski holding for Mcfadden.
Polish rifle.
The kick, strong leg, no good, off to the left. It was long enough, but it wasn't accurate enough, and so Mcfadden misses a chance to tie the game. And with 9 minutes, 36 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, Dallas Cowboys will take over. 1st and 10 when we come back. First and 10 Cowboys at the 22-yard line. 9:36 to go in the 3rd quarter. Gary Hogeboom, the quarterback. He's got Donnelly split wide to the left. Renfrow, and they give it to Ron Springs. And Springs gets a couple to the 22-yard line. Greg Brown and Dennis Harris in the tackle. For an NFL Today update, let's Brent. Thank you. And the Giants and the Redskins locked in that duel at RFK Stadium. Meanwhile, the Cowboys 1-1 on the year in a struggle of their own with less than 9 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. At 2nd and 9. Make it 2nd and 8. Renfrow in motion. Play action. Hogeboom has enough time. Fires to the sideline. Complete. Doug Donnelly, who inherited Drew Pearson's role, made the catch, and he was standing there for a long time.
Here's a great illustration of the great arm of Hogeboom. Donnelly goes down and kind of sells him on the idea is going inside, then goes outside. Bernard Wilson tries to get back, but he keeps both feet in bounds, and the ball rifles right through there like a frozen rope. Gets right on the sideline, and 1st down, Dallas Cowboys.
First catch today for Doug Donnelly, and of course Donnelly and Hogeboom have worked together a lot.
He looks for Donnelly an awful lot, and I think that's his favorite target. There he is.
First and 10 at the 43. Screen to Dorsett. Dorsett still on his feet, gets away from trouble, and is finally brought down from behind at the 47-yard line by Greg Brown, the big right defensive end. Greg Brown, who came from the construction site in Washington, D.C. as a free agent, a big play performer. And he has picked up 2 touchdowns on fumbles against Washington and Dallas in his career.
How about our visit with Hogaboom yesterday? You know, I said, how do you like Coach Landry calling you Hogan Bloom? And he said, well, he doesn't remember names very well, so I'm used to it. At least he's changed the Hogan Bloom. He's now added an N. He calls it Hogan Bloom, but it's closer. He's getting there. Yeah. Pass is caught by Donnelly. Herman Edwards and Griggs both there, and a first down for the Cowboys in Eagle territory. 15-yard gain to the 36.
Here's Donnelly coming off with a free release. Free release. Goes down, cuts to the inside, and the ball is right on the money. Right on the money. And that's the great thing about Hogaboom, as I mentioned earlier. He's got such a great rifle arm that even though he looks the ball into the receiver's area, he still gets it there because he's got so much velocity on the ball.
Wes Hopkins was slow getting up and was limping. You thought he'd be coming off the field and said, forget it, I'm going to stay in the ball game. Hopkins, who played his college ball right here at Texas Stadium in the uniform of the SMU Mustangs, stays in the game.
And we talked to him yesterday, and boy, he was excited about playing here today, wasn't he?
I think all these guys are, but particularly a guy like Wes Hopkins.
Look at all the room they got on the right side receiver-wise.
Springs in motion, 1st and 10 at the 36, swinging out to Dorsett, and that's danger territory because Herman Edwards was forcing the play, and if he had gotten there quick enough, who knows what would have happened.
You know what happened that time? They had a good 2-on-2 situation on the right side. They sent a man in motion, brought an extra man over there, and by the time they threw the ball, they were out of business.
7:49 remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Cowboys lead the Eagles 13-10. It was 13-10 at the half, and Paul Mcfadden missed a 39-yard field goal. Would have tied the game for the Eagles, but they've hung in there against the Dallas team that has dominated Philadelphia for the most part. Past years, Hogaboom completes the pass to Donnelly again at the 20, and another first down. Hopkins makes the hit, and he made quite a hit on Doug Donnelly. So the combination of Hogaboom and Donnelly really clicking here, Hank.
I tell you what, he used the shoulder pads on that last play. He really gave him a shot. Wes Hopkins, number 48, he paid for the catch. Watch it. Watch here now. Watch Hopkins coming in the picture for number 48. He makes the catch, and bang, there he is. Hits him right in the back. Didn't wrap him up very good, but he hit him.
So it's a first down for the Cowboys.
Look at all the room on the right side now. 1-on-1 with Donnelly.
At the 19, the pitch. Dorsett looking for a hole, and Joelle Williams puts the bear hug on it. Inside the 20-yard line, actually at the 15-yard line. There is Joelle Williams, who last year was acquired from Atlanta. He had contract problems. He came to a new system and had to move, but he also was a single parent. He adopted one of his sister's sons, 13-year-old Tyrone. He's been very close to his nephew, and he adopted him. So with all of those personal things, that affected his play last year.
Yeah, and he's a tough guy. They call him the quiet assassin. 6'1", 220.
And a feared pass rusher. Remember with Atlanta a few years ago.
Yeah, he doesn't have he hasn't great size, but he's got excellent speed.
2nd and 6. Hogaboom going for Springs, and a pass interference call on Ray Ellis. He tripped Springs.
Well, they had a man-on-man situation. The receiver on the outside came inside to take the cornerback. It was Donnelly, and they threw right over the top. Ellis gets involved.
They're coming back, and maybe against Dallas.
Illegal motion, number 82 on the offense. Defensive pass interference, number 24 on the defense. They will offset. We'll play 2nd down over.
Talk about a bad break for the Cowboys, Hank. There's one right there.
But a good break for the Eagles.
Sure is.
There you see it. Watch 24 trying to cover and winds up tripping. Watch him. Springs. It's close, though, isn't it? But he did trip it.
He did, and but it's offsetting penalties with Renfrow moving, so it's still 2nd down and 6 at the 15. Hogaboom looking and gets Cosby at the 5-yard line. Hopkins wrestles him down. First down, though, for the Dallas Cowboys with 6 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. So Hogaboom came right back with a big play.
Well, Cosby's a big target, 6'6", 236.
It's been a quiet crowd until now.
Yeah, they've been sitting on their hands, and finally they've awakened, and they're much more involved in this game. But really, there hasn't been very much emotion involved in either team, with either team this afternoon, has it?
Nope. It hasn't been that kind of a big play kind of game anyway. So it's 1st and goal at the 5. Springs in motion, fumble. I think Hogaboom covered up effectively back at the 8-yard line. Still Dallas ball.
Hogaboom didn't look like he got a good snap from the center. It looked like he might have backed out of there too quickly. It's hard to tell, but he was lucky to make the recovery. But that's the important thing. You fumble that ball down in that area, make sure you just do one thing: fall on the ball, be satisfied that you have possession. Tom Landry looking on, and Coach Myers looking on, the very fine line coach.
Landry looks upset here. We can't read
He has
his
a right
lips.
to be.
Yeah.
He's a little upset as right.
2nd down.
Well, they got a bump and run on the right side. See if they try to go up on top.
Hogaboom is looking for 6. His pass intended for Renfrow. Covering on the play is Brenard Wilson, and now it'll be 3rd and goal at the 8.
He had a chance to complete that. He had a jump on Brenard Wilson, but the ball was thrown too far out in front and incomplete.
Septien with 2 field goals, 47 and 51 yards, gave the Cowboys a 6-0 lead. Jaworski hit quick with a touchdown to give Philadelphia their only lead of the game. Hogaboom to Springs to make it 13-7. Mcfadden the field goal, but now it's still 13-10.
On that kind of a pass, you want to make sure you throw the ball out in front enough, and that time he was too careful not to throw behind him and threw too far out in front. He couldn't make the catch.
Hogaboom sacked. Back at the 15 by Greg Brown, who came in quickly. That may be that's the 2nd sack of the ball game. And an important sack indeed, as it's now 4th down.
Greg Brown, the right end, number 98, coming inside. Look at the pressure he puts on the quarterback, and he gets inside of the offensive tackle. And the offensive tackle, of course, is Phil Pasteric, number 75. The big tackle used to play his collegiate football at Notre Dame. When he was a freshman, he weighed 220. And he's 6'9". He weighed 220. Now, of course, he weighs about 275.
31-yard attempt for Raphael Septien. Holding is Gary Hogaboom. And Septien's kick is good. And the Dallas Cowboys now lead at 16-10. But you've got to credit the Philadelphia Eagles defense. It was 1st and goal at the 8, and the Eagles held them to 3 points. It is 16-10, and we'll be back with 4:28 to go. With 3 field goals to his credit, Raphael Septien will kick off. His last one from 31 yards out has given the Cowboys a 16-10 lead. Joe Hayes on the receiving end again. It's a short kick going over to Major Everett's side on the 7-yard line. Everett straight ahead, gets to the 25-yard line. And that's where the Eagles will take over 1st and 10. Jeff Rora makes the tackle. Well, tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes. All new 60 Minutes. The premiere of ER with Elliot Gould and Some Kind of Hero with Richard Pryor. So you'll catch a new season tonight on CBS. 4 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Jaworski, 13 of 30, 166 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Hubie Oliver back in the game. Jaworski to pass on 1st down, going deep for Mike Quick. He was double covered back there by Everson Walls and Michael Downs.
Yeah, they guess wrong. Sometimes, you know, you guess right. Other times you guess wrong from an offense and defensive standpoint. That time the defense guessed right. Offense guessed wrong. They tried to throw the ball on top. No chance.
He is 5 for 10, Jaworski is, in first down passing situations. Let's check the scoreboard. Final scores now. Minnesota over Atlanta, 27-20. Les Steckel, a big win. The Bears, 3-0. They beat the Packers in their big game. O'Donoghue's field goal, final seconds, gave the Cardinals a win over the Colts in a thriller. 2nd and 10 at the 25. Jaworski to throw again. Getting some pressure. He dumps it off to Hubie Oliver. And Oliver is hit from behind as he reaches the 33-yard line by John Dutton. What about other scores, Hank?
We'll see one in a minute. Seattle, New England over Seattle, 38-23. Boy, that's a surprise, isn't it? New York Jets, 43. Cincinnati, 23. And Kansas City, 20. And the Raiders came back and beat Kansas City 22-20.
Why do you give the Kansas City score first, even though they lost? No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah, here we are, New Orleans, 4th quarter. Look at that's quite a comeback too. It's 20-17 over San Francisco. They were losing 17-0 at one stage.
And Kenny Stabler led the Saints from that 17-0 deficit for that lead in relief of Richard Todd. 3rd down and 2 for the Eagles. Jaworski going to the air again. Has time. He's going up on top. Montgomery lost where the ball was. He's claiming he was pushed. Walls was with him all the way, but the net result, incomplete, 4th down, and the Eagles will have to kick.
You know, the other thing that's happening, the Cowboys are playing a little bit more zone than they normally play, and that's, I think, surprising because he's still trying to throw the ball on top, and they get double coverage some.
So Mike Horan comes into the ball game to kick, and Gary Allen will be deep for the Dallas Cowboys. Horan, this will be his 5th punt of the game, and has kicked well. Left-footed kicker, and Allen is back at the 25. A lot of come-from-behind ball games today around the league.
Well, that's the ability to throw the ball. I think everybody throws the ball so well, and if you throw the ball well enough, you always got a chance to come back and win.
Good booming high kick by Horan. And Allen will field it at the 16-yard line and is down at the 25. 50-yard kick by Horan. He did his job, and the Cowboys will take over 1st and 10 at the 25 when we return. Cowboys 16, the Eagles 10, 3:07 to go, 3rd quarter. Dallas coming out 1st and 10 on their 25. Donnelly in the last drive caught 3 passes for 50 yards. He's been a hot target by Hogeboom, and this time it's Dorsett head down, getting out to the 27-yard line, a pickup of about 3 yards.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Here we see Tom Landry.
And the Washington Redskins lead the Giants 23-14 in the 4th quarter.
And Tom Landry said yesterday, in his opinion, the Washington Redskins were still the team to beat in his division, even though they lost 2. And there's a lot of validity to that because of where they're playing here this afternoon.
He said that he felt that the Redskins salvaged their season with their second-half effort against San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't know whether you can say that after the second game, but that's what he said, and evidently it helped them because they won this week.
2nd and 7. Swings it out to Dorsett. Knocked out of bounds at the 31-yard line, short of a 1st down by 3. Well, for what's going on in that Redskin-Giant game, let's check in with Brent Musburger. All right, Brent, thank you very much. So the Redskins in control over the Giants right now, but the Cowboys are not in control over the Eagles. Timmy Newsome is into the ball game, and he is the receiver there. He grabs the ball and gets a 1st down and gets into Philadelphia territory at the 49. Wes Hopkins makes the play, but a linebacker came in. It looked like Newsome had just wrestled the ball away.
Well, Jody Schultz was out there in pretty good shape. He tried it. He went after the ball that time and missed it. Watch him out in the flat area. He missed making the knockdown of the ball. Newsome maintains the possession of the ball, runs down the sideline, is finally hit on the sideline by Hopkins, but a great catch because it looked like Schultz was going to knock it down.
He backed up Dorsett for 2 years at the running back position. Now he's backing up Springs, but seeing a lot of action. Tom Landry likes him very much and always has. 1st and 10, the 49 of Philadelphia. Springs in motion, screen pass, wide receiver screen. Renfrow's going to throw it to Donnelly. He's open. Donnelly has it. Touchdown, Dallas. Those are the kind of plays that break open a ball game, and when you use it at the right time, they're dynamite.
Timing is everything. This is what I call a recess football play. A lot of fun. They fake it to the left, throw the ball out here to Renfrow. It's a low ball. He throws the ball right on the money to Donnelly, who gets behind Greenard Wilson, makes the catch over the shoulder. Touchdown, Dallas Cowboys. Fun play. Those are the fun plays in practice that people like to enjoy and practice. And then, of course, when they work in a game, boy, that's icing on the cake.
22-10. Septien looking to add the conversion. He does. And so the most exciting play of the ball game right here. Covered 49 yards, Hank.
Here again, he fakes to the left and then throws back out here to the right to Renfrow. Makes a good catch low. That was the key. He makes a good catch low. Looked like he was going to fumble the ball, but he caught it, throw the ball downfield beautifully to Donnelly. He makes the catch and gives the scorekeeper a little business, +6.
So the Cowboys have given themselves some breathing room for the first time this afternoon. And there's Donnelly getting a breather on the bench right now. We'll be back. It's 23-10. The Dallas Cowboys are leading, putting smiles on the faces of their fans in their home opener. And Raphael Septien will be kicking off to the Eagles again.
But it's still a very quiet and crowded.
Very quiet. Hayes. Just short of the 20-yard line. Steve Diassi, a rookie from Boston College, made the tackle on Joe Hayes. Scoring drive capped on the 49-yard flea flicker pass. Renfrow to Donnelly, and a penalty marker was thrown.
Holding on the return, number 57. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Bill Cowher was the guilty party. Want to remind you, next Saturday, there's more college football, and then on September 29th, we have a 10-round heavyweight bout. Jerry Cooney and Phil Brown.
How'd you like to be Phil Brown? He's been in and out of training camp for how many times, waiting for a chance to fight Jerry Cooney. I bet he's happy about this one.
Wilbert Montgomery brings it out to the 16-yard line. Eugene Lockhart makes the tackle. Brown is 22-0 with 2 draws and 15 knockouts. He's from New Orleans, not ranked in the heavyweight division, but keep in mind that Jerry Cooney has not fought since he lost to Larry Holmes back in June of '82. Minute and a half remaining in the third quarter. So Jaworski has his work cut out for him now. Ball on the 16, his own 16. 2nd and 4, trailing 23-10. Here's Montgomery again. Montgomery gets the first down as he crosses the 20-yard line up to the 22. Anthony Dickerson and Ed Jones make the tackle.
Hubie Oliver made a nice block on the outside to provide a running room for Montgomery on the inside, who picked up the yardage for the first down.
He's gained 46 yards in 13 carries. He had 98 yards last week against Minnesota and also caught 4 passes. He showed flashes of the Wilbert Montgomery of old before that knee injury. 45 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 1st and 10 for the Eagles. Hubie Oliver is in there. Jaworski going to Spagnola, the tight end, and Dickerson and Lockhart bring him down. Lockhart has been in a lot of plays today, Hank.
Yeah, after watching the films, they're going to like his performance. He's an outstanding middle linebacker. He's big and he's strong, and you know, for a young guy to step in and play the middle linebacker on a 4-3 flex, that's quite a responsibility, but he's fulfilled that responsibility very well here this afternoon.
The 3 rookies they like very much that could press the starters before long are Lockhart pressing Brunig, Victor Scott giving Ron Fellows a run for the money at right cornerback, and Billy Cannon, the rookie, with Anthony Dickerson at right linebacker. There's the gun, and that is the end of the third quarter with the score, the Dallas Cowboys 23 and the Philadelphia Eagles 10. We now pause for a word from your local station. Back at Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, the Dallas Cowboys lead the Philadelphia Eagles 23-10 as we start the fourth quarter. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram. The Eagles have a 2nd down and 3 on their own 28-yard line. Ron Jaworski at the helm. Going to the air, gets Spagnola and a first down. Spagnola brought down by Dickerson at the 38-yard line. Big play of the ball game for the Cowboys. Neither team had more than a 6-point lead until Hogaboom threw a screen to Mike Renfrow, and the flea flicker hit Donnelly with a 49-yard pass toward the end of the third quarter to give Dallas the 23-10 lead.
You know, so far in the 2 games that the Philadelphia's played, they haven't really had to play catch-up football. They've been in both games, and they're still in this one.
They are. Here is the rookie, Andre Hardy, carrying for the first time, and he brings it out to the 41-yard line. Hardy, 5th-round draft pick, was a real find in preseason. When Montgomery wasn't playing, Hardy was, and they really discovered a good future running back.
Yeah, from St. Mary's, 6'1", 233. They told him to get down to 228, but he just couldn't make it. In fact, Campbell said if he was going to make 228, he'd have to stop eating on Wednesday. So.
He did tell us that. You know, he wanted to go to USC. He went to San Diego City College, then Weber State before winding up at St. Mary's. So he visited a few schools before and after, huh?
Right, he's a slice of life. 2nd
and 7, Vito Cab into Dallas territory. And another first down for Philadelphia. And a first down at the 47-yard line, a 13-yard pickup. Dickerson makes the tackle with help from Eugene Lockhart. Now, Hank, if the Eagles can get back here and get some points, do you feel they're back in the game?
You've heard me say it many, many times. You know, even though it's 23-10, they're just two plays away from being back in this football game. They get a touchdown here. That makes 7 more, and then of course they need one more 7-point play, and they're ahead in the game. So they're very much in this contest.
The 1 touchdown pass was to Quick, and the 2 interceptions came in the first half. Jaworski to Quick, first down and more, and Quick finally down to the 31. So Jaworski is finding his targets now. He is 7 for 10 in the second half. Downs and Fellows make the tackle on Mike Quick.
But Walls is turned inside a little bit, then straightens out. He throws inside of him. The ball's right on the money. And again, the key is throwing the ball right at the numbers. He makes the catch, fights desperately up the field for as much yardage as he possibly can get. But Quick is really a terrific player.
And if Kenny Jackson develops with the speed outside, they can't just focus in on Mike Quick. 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line. Jaworski, cool and calm against the Dallas defense, hits Spagnola again, and the tight end has another first down at the 20-yard line. Lockhart makes the stop. Spagnola, who caught 8 passes last week, has caught 8 again, and that's a career high. He hadn't caught that many since his days at Yale.
You know, the other thing that Jaworski and every quarterback in the league, they love to throw. If you ask them if they had a choice to throw against 2 middle linebackers, which is a 3-4, or 1 middle linebacker, the 4-3, they invariably would all say, hey, we'd much rather throw against 1 middle linebacker, a 4-3, because we don't have that extra guy to worry about inside. And they're doing a pretty good job hitting that tight end against that 1 middle linebacker.
First down at the 20. Here is Montgomery looking inside, gets a yard. Dexter Clinkscale makes the tackle. We have not seen much of the running game for either team so far, but the point you brought up before is really true, and this is the deadest crowd I have ever witnessed in this stadium. Even when Dallas, other than that one big play, it's been very quiet.
Yeah, they really ought to pass out some no-dos because, boy, they've been sleeping this afternoon.
They're sitting and watching a competitive ball game. That's one thing they are watching.
But there's no excitement involved in the game at all.
All the fans are looking left and right. Under 11 minutes to go. We're in the 4th quarter. 2nd down and 9 at the 19-yard line. Jaworski with a short drop to Mike Quick. Can't hold on to it. Everson Walls defending on the play. Walls was beaten last week, and he has played a much better game today.
You know, that was a good pass, a very good pass. If you're going to throw a slant pass, you really want to throw it at the numbers or below the numbers, never above the numbers, because if it's deflected, you wind up with an intercepted pass. If it's incomplete when you throw it low, it hits the turf and no chance for the interception. And for that reason, that was a good throw.
The Cowboys come in with their 4-0 defense, the 4 linemen up front. 3rd and 9.
See if they come after him. No, they got a 4-man rush.
Jaworski complete to Tony Woodruff, and another first down inside the 10-yard line. Ron Fellows hit him out of bounds. Jaworski is like a surgeon out there.
Well, you know, it's a lot different when they don't rush those extra backs. That time they just had a 4-man rush and dropped back 7 guys. They had plenty of time to throw the ball, and they take advantage of Fellows, number 27 on the outside, who is playing man for man on Tony Woodruff.
What's the best way to attack the 4-0?
Well, I think number one, I think you ought to go on a quick count and not permit them to put in the 7 defensive backs. That keeps them on a sideline. They tell you that the other guys can't play pass defense as well as the 7. Keep them on a sideline. I think that's what I would do.
Jaworski is 20 for 40. That was after a 1 for 11 start in this game. He's come back big. 1st and goal at the 9. The Eagles trailing the Cowboys 23-10. Jaworski overthrows Mike Quick, and a good thing he had Everson Walls defending. That's experience for you.
Yep. And he saw that he didn't have a chance to make the reception. He threw the ball out of bounds very wisely. But going back, here's Teddy Marchibroda again, along with Campbell, Marion Campbell, the head coach. Campbell with the hat. And they're calling the plays from the sideline. There you saw Mike Quick come back into the huddle, try to lick Everson Walls on the outside, but Walls was right there in good shape and made the play.
Plenty of time, 10:33 to go in the 4th quarter. They have Kenny Jackson and Mike Quick lined up to the right side. Jaworski, short drop up the middle, tipped and caught for the touchdown by Mike Quick. I think Ron Fellows got a hand on it, and Mike Quick was there to make the reception, his 2nd touchdown catch of the day, and the Eagles have come back.
That's the great thing about keeping your eyes on the ball all the time. Even though it's deflected, watch, it's deflected, but he watches the ball in the air, sucks it right out of there, makes the catch. Touchdown, Philadelphia Eagles.
And if this crowd was quiet before, Hank, it is quieter if that's possible. Mcfadden will try to add the extra point with Jaworski holding. And he does. And with 10:28 to go, it is now 23-17. Mike Quick on the reception.
Here we see it again. Hegman, number 58. Quick, 82. Linebacker trying to get a piece of him. Didn't. He works inside. Fellows is inside, has good inside leverage. He tips the ball, but Quick maintains concentration, watches it all the way into his hand, makes the catch. Touchdown, Philadelphia Eagles.
There's Mike Quick, who has caught 2 touchdown passes. Ron Jaworski has thrown 2. And as a result, the Dallas Cowboy lead is back to 6. It has been that kind of a game today. And Paul Mcfadden, the rookie out of Youngstown State, who is a 12th round draft pick, will be kicking to Chuck McSwain on the right and Gary Allen on the left. It's going to McSwain's way, and he's going to let Allen get it at the 1-yard line. Allen brings it out to the 20. Penalty markers are down, and Allen is finally brought down at the 27-yard line. Let's tell you this quickly, the scoring drive here. And it was a good long drive by Ron Jaworski. It was a masterful drive by Ron, picking his plays, mixing them, and used 5.5 minutes of the clock, capped with a 9-yard touchdown pass to Mike Quick. Now a penalty marker, Chuck Heberly.
Holding on the return, number 56 on the receiving team. First down.
Eugene Lockhart, and it'll be a first down as the ball is set back to the 16.
Now the defense has to do something. They have to come up with some kind of a big play to make them kick so they can get back in good field position so they can get back in this game.
How would you rate this game from the Cowboys standpoint?
I think it's a little bit on the par with the first 2 games they played. Nothing sensational, just kind of vanilla.
I'd agree. 10:17 to go, a lot of time. In motion is Springs. Dorsett following Cooper's block. And a fine play made by Jerry Robinson and Anthony Griggs. Clock winding down to 10 minutes to go. Gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
It's been very hot, you know, all week long. That's quite a costume there, isn't it? See that cap? You look cute in that, I think.
Well, it would. If it rains, that balloon goes the other way. So that's what happens. It was raining a little bit yesterday. You talk about the weather.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but you know, talking about the weather, it's been hot all week long.
Dorsett testing the right side. Dennis Harrison makes the play. San Francisco, New Orleans in quite a battle, and the 49ers lead. Montana's been knocked out of the game, and Matt Cavanaugh threw a touchdown pass to Earl Cooper.
Look at Washington. Boy, they're coming on strong, 30-14. But they're that kind of a team. If they're close or they get ahead of you, boy, they're murdered. Washington, now we see Detroit 17-14. Tampa's playing a tough game down in Tampa in the 4th quarter.
And it's Pittsburgh 24, the Rams 14. Vince Ferragamo was out of the game with a broken finger. Jeff Kemp came in, and so with all the problems the Rams have, losing Ferragamo is a big one.
Look at San Diego. San Diego 31 and Houston 7.
An injured player is down on the field. It's a Philadelphia player. We're not sure who it is, and as soon as we know, we'll tell you. We're not going to take any guesses, but we will take a timeout. 9:26 on the clock. Dallas leading by 6, and we'll return to quiet Texas Stadium in just a moment. That's Brenard Wilson, who is shaken up and has come out of the ball game. He had an interception last week and almost made 2 in this one.
Yeah, he's done a good job in the corner, really. He came up and forced very well, and he's not very big. You know, he's 6 foot 175, signed as a free agent in 1979.
Well, this is an important play. 3rd down and 8 for the Cowboys to maintain possession with 9:12 to go. For the Eagles to get the ball again. Hogaboom going outside, and slipping was Waddell Smith, the wide receiver. So it'll be 4th down, and the Cowboys will have to kick. Herman Edwards was defending on the play. Smith, former Canadian League player, as we said, and so now Danny White comes in to punt.
And the Eagles, with any luck here, should come out of this with pretty good field position.
White has punted well. We told you he took over for Jim Miller, who was the Cowboy punter in the opening game of the season. And there is Evan Cooper, the 4th-round draft pick out of Michigan. He's standing at his 40, Hank, so you're right. Any kind of a return here will give Philadelphia a decent shot. Good punt and a fair catch called for by Cooper at the 45-yard line. We have plenty of time. 8:59 showing on the clock. Philadelphia down by 6. We'll see what Ron Jaworski has coming up. Marion Campbell and the Philadelphia Eagles, with that much time remaining in the 4th quarter, trailing by 6, have a 1st and 10 on their own 45. Kenny Jackson, the rookie from Penn State, comes out left, and Mike Quick with 2 TD receptions to the top.
See if they pump it up on 1st and 10.
Hubie Oliver is the one setback.
They do.
Jaworski in trouble and sacked for the first time today. First sack of the ball game, and it was Mike Hegman, the linebacker, who came in.
Hegman, 58, and also Jeffcoat, number 77, puts a pretty good pressure. There you see the leak. There you see Hegman making the tackle, number 58.
Loss of 9 yards, 2nd down and 19. Let's compare offense by halves, and you see how the complexion of the game changed in a lot of ways, even though the score is still 6 points favored by Cowboys.
Yeah, you always have to remember there's 4 quarters to every game, and sometimes very deceptive when you see what happens at halftime and then what happens as the game progresses.
Dallas's defense has been terrific in the 2nd half. Jaworski needs 19 yards, and Hubie Oliver makes the catch. Lockhart brings him right down. He didn't get much on that one, maybe 3 or 4 yards at the most.
I've said it several times, but you have to be impressed with Lockhart. The mean machine is what they call him, and he's excellent against the run and has expressed us.
The crowd getting turned up a notch or 2.
The last few times they just had a 4-man rush. They're going to blitz this time.
There he goes, Scott, and the blitz paid off. Montgomery was the intended receiver, but Victor Scott, who is a second-round draft pick out of Colorado, and a player you're going to see more and more in the Dallas Cowboy picture, came storming in on Jaworski.
He was unaccounted for. Nobody touched him. Had no chance whatsoever, and they've really done a pretty good job of mixing it up. I think Jaworski thought that time that he was not going to get a blitz and was surprised that he got one and got rid of the ball before he had a chance to really step and throw.
You saw Gary Allen, and Mike Horan will punt. Originally drafted by Atlanta. Good high kick, very good kick, and a fair catch by Allen at the 18-yard line. 43-yard punt by Horan. The defenses have held, and we'll see what Philadelphia does on defense against Gary Hogeboom and company in just a moment. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram, Texas Stadium, 7:30 remaining. Cowboys leading 23-17, 1st and 10 on their 18-yard line. Gary Hogeboom to Dorsett, and there's Waddell Smith on the reverse, and smelling it out is Anthony Griggs with good pursuit. Let's take a look at some final scores around the league quickly, and then we'll bring you up to date on the games in progress. Victory by Minnesota today. The Bears remain undefeated. Cardinals last second pull it out on a field goal. New England was down 23-0. The Jets in a romp over the Cincinnati Bengals. The Raiders came from behind to beat Kansas City. Those are all final scores.
Dorsett hadn't had much yardage here this afternoon. 19 carries for 63 yards. Funny thing, talking to him yesterday, he said he felt tired.
Interesting. Cosby, the intended receiver, incomplete.
He said it was very, very hot all week long. They practiced long, and he just felt kind of tired and dead.
In games in progress, the 49ers now lead the Saints 30-20. Wershing with a 40-yard field goal. Stabler had brought back the Saints. The Redskins, last 2 touchdowns in this game have been on defense. One of them a Vernon Dean interception return, and Curtis Jordan with a 29-yard fumble return. Tampa Bay leads Detroit 21-17, and in the 4th quarter, the Bucs are looking for their first win. Steve DeBerg hit Jimmy Giles to put them ahead. 3rd down and 15. Hogeboom completes the pass to Mike Renfrow, who has a first down and is ganged up on the 35-yard line. Ray Ellis makes the tackle. 22-yard gain, and that was a big play for the Cowboys, Hank.
You talk about Mr. Clutch. Mike Renfrow, again, a great catch coming across the middle. He's a very sure-handed receiver, does not have blazing speed, plenty of time to throw the ball. Catches the ball right inside, right on the numbers again. Quickly gets up the field, gets hit by Ellis right in the smush that time, above the shoulder pads, but they don't call it. There you see him again, coming across the middle, right on the money. A beautiful throw by Hogeboom, and he gets up the field, finally hit by Ellis.
1st and 10 at the 35-yard line, 5:56 to go. Penalty markers fly all over the place. Mike Renfrow came into the ball game having caught 4 passes. The penalties against Dallas in the first 2 games. He has caught 4 in this one. Other scores. The Steelers lead the Rams 24-14. Rams playing without Ferragamo with a broken finger. Jeff Kemp, the quarterback, and San Diego over Houston by a wide margin in the 4th quarter. Legal procedure against the Cowboys. 1st and 15.
And Howard Richards now is playing left tackle instead of Pozderic for the Cowboys.
In motion is Cosby. Draw play to Springs, breaks one, gets up to the 35-yard line. Jerry Robinson makes the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and about 10 for the Cowboys. The clock continues to run. 5:35 remaining now. Cowboys last year swept the Eagles for the first time that they swept Philadelphia since '78. 49ers defeat the New Orleans Saints 30-20, so the 49ers remain unbeaten at 3-0.
They were very impressive in their win over the Washington Redskins earlier in the week, and they evidently were good again today.
They had a big lead, 17-0, lost the lead, and then came back. 2nd and 10. And now the Cowboys are going to call a timeout. It is their first timeout, so each team has called 2. Or called 1 and have 2 remaining. So with 5:07 to go in the 4th quarter, We'll take a break and be back to Texas Stadium in just a moment. Opening day in Dallas. The Cowboys were on the road for games against the Rams and Giants, 1-1, and opening game against the Eagles, and locked in a struggle here, leading 23-17, that much time remaining.
Big responsibility for the defense. They have to do something, make something happen on defense, and also with their special teams.
Hogaboom in trouble, gets away, but not for Jody Schultz. A fumble, and the Cowboys recover, and that could have been a close call. It was Doug Cosby who recovered, and it was Jody Schultz who knocked the ball away.
Jody Schultz comes in from the backside, number 53. Watch him, he'll come into the picture.
Third down.
There he comes. Ken Clark had the first shot, number 71, but it missed him. Jody Clark made the hit, and he almost lost possession of the football. That was kind of a big play that we were talking about that the Philadelphia Eagles defense had to make.
Third down and 10. They called it an incomplete pass, apparently. They said that he was in the passing motion. So an incomplete pass for Hogaboom, 3rd and 10. Now, I can't pronounce his name. There he's going to go deep for Renfrow, and good pressure by the likes of Harvey Armstrong and Greg Brown inside. Renfrow, the intended receiver, and it'll be 4th down, and the Eagles holding again on defense. Their defense has been terrific here in the second half.
They really have done an outstanding job. They really have. It's a very well-disciplined defense. You know, they stay at home, they play the positions, they don't over-respond or overreact, and that's why it was so surprising to see that flea flicker work as well as they do. It did, because normally they don't take the bait for that kind of a play.
Danny White, whose job now is to be the kicker until further notice, gets off a high kick. Evan Cooper down there, they called a fair catch, and the ball goes out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Next Saturday, we have a good one for you on CBS Sports. College football, an outstanding matchup. Top-ranked Nebraska takes on 7th-ranked UCLA. Osborne and Donahue, 2 solid coaches who have been to bowls.
Oh, I think they've earned the right to be respected as 2 of the very top quality coaches in collegiate football.
First down and 10. By the way, that game starts 3:30 Eastern next Saturday on CBS. Mike Quick comes out to the left. Jaworski hit a dry spot early in the ball game, and now back into it at the 34.
They're playing with 2 tight ends.
Cab and Spagnola going way back. Pressure by Danny White, and off the hands of Michael Haddix, incomplete. Randy White was chasing Ron Jaworski into the goalpost practically. 4:39 remaining in the ball game, and the Eagles have 2 timeouts remaining. So do the Cowboys, but the Eagles are trailing right now. Is this possession the key possession for them?
I think it's a very important possession. They still have plenty of time. It all depends what they do defensively. If they cough it up here and they have to kick again, it all depends on how well they do defensively to get the ball back one more time.
They've done well, but how long can they keep going to that well? Second down 10 at the 34-yard line. Here's a blitz. Jaworski, and it was Michael Downs that came on in. It'll be an incompleted pass. Jaworski got rid of it in a hurry. Cowboys are claiming that he got rid of it to avoid the rush.
Michael Downs, look, he gets right through the gap between the center and the guard. Nobody there to block him. No chance whatsoever to make the completion. It's lucky he got rid of the ball like he did.
Third down and 10.
That's why it's so very important to change the rhythm of the count so that the defense can't get a jump. You have to keep going on quick counts, 1, 2, 3. We used to keep track of that on the sideline just to make sure that we didn't get in a rut and call the play in the same signal.
Third and 10 in the 34. This crowd quiet most of the day, cheering for the Dallas defense. With 4:36 showing, Jaworski back, pressure. The pass is incomplete. It got to Kenny Jackson, but Ron Fellows was right behind him. They were going for Jackson in the first down, but it's incomplete, and Mike Horan will come in to punt.
Kenny Jackson should have made the catch. It went right through his hands that time. He started to come back for the ball. Had he come back a little bit more for the ball, he would have had a better opportunity. But in spite of that, he still should have made the catch.
Horan will kick, and Gary Allen will be deep for the Dallas Cowboys. It's Jaworski is going to have to learn to be patient with the rookie Kenny Jackson, the #1 draft pick from Penn State. He's got good talent, but not there yet.
And the defense now has a lot of pressure on them. They have to make something happen here to stop us so they can get the ball back for their offense.
Good high kick. Moran's been punting well today, and a fair catch at the 16-yard line. A 49-yard punt. Let's talk about next week, starting with the NFL today. It'll be a doubleheader on CBS Sports. These are the early games. Cardinals and New Orleans. Cardinals won today. New Orleans lost. The 49ers against these Eagles in Philadelphia. San Francisco is undefeated. Minnesota at Detroit. Vikings victorious today. Washington and New England. Both of these teams winners are heading for victories. And then the second game, pretty good menu. Green Bay and Dallas, Chicago and Seattle, and the Giants and Tampa Bay at the Meadowlands. The NFL today starts it off. Here's Ron Springs. Backs his way up to the 22-yard line. Clock becomes a factor now, 4:15 and running.
They were keying so strongly on Dorsett that time that they overran the play, and Springs popped through there for a bigger gain than they expected.
Now what the Eagles want to do here is tighten up their defense so that they don't have to use any more timeouts on defense. 2nd down and 5. Halftime was 13-10. And here is Ron Springs, who may have a first down. Williams and Griggs make the tackle for Philadelphia. The clock continues to run. And now the clock stops. We'll have a measurement. Tampa Bay came back and beat Detroit. What do you think of that?
Oh, that's a great win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and John McKay. He has to go to the hospital on Tuesday to remove cataracts. And we hope it's not going to be a very serious operation or whatever it is. But he expects to be back next week. But this is a great way for him to leave the squad for a couple of days.
Very close, and it is a first down for the Dallas Cowboys with 3:32 to go. An easy win for the San Diego Chargers. They did not miss Chuck Muncie. 31-14 the score. Final score, San Diego over Houston. 3:31 remaining, and so now the Philadelphia Eagles are looking at the clock and may have to use a timeout or two. Eagles need a touchdown to win.
Look at that.
Ogaboom with pressure, and storming in was Greg Brown along with Dennis Harrison.
He got through there like nobody was there. Nobody touched him.
Ogaboom threw 90 passes in the first 2 games of the season. He has thrown 38 in this game. And the Redskins beat the Giants 30-14. So the Giants are 2-1, and the Redskins are 1-2. The Cardinals are 2-1, and the winner of this game will be 2-1. 2nd and 10. The ball at the 27. 3:13 to go. Ogaboom putting it up again. This pass is caught by Donnelly. He goes out of bounds, but the Cowboys have a first down. Herman Edwards defending. An 18-yard gain for the Cowboys and Donnelly.
Donnelly gets off the ball with a free release. Inside pressure by the defensive end, 68. Throws the ball with plenty of room on Herman Edwards, number 46, who's playing the right cornerback. Yeah, I'm surprised that he's playing as well as he did. He looks like he started very slowly, was a little tentative, but he's got stronger as the game has gone on. And a lot of times, or most people, I should say, before the game, didn't expect him to play at all.
And he caught a touchdown pass from Mike Renfrow. Tony Dorsett dives to the 45-yard line. Under 3 minutes now remaining in the ball game. The Eagles are trying to stop the Cowboys and save the 2 timeouts for offense. Don't forget, an all-new edition of 60 Minutes follows football, except on the West Coast. Cowboys lead 23-17. Hogaboom with a touchdown pass to Springs. And Renfrow to Donnelly on the flea flicker. Jaworski, 2 touchdown passes to Mike Quick. Except the end with 3 field goals. Here is Ron Springs off the right side. I'll tell you, Ron Springs has been a money ball carrier in the final minutes of this ball game as he gets into Eagle territory.
Well, they're doing a good job of calling plays because the Eagles really are anticipating Dorsett carrying the ball, and he hasn't gotten the ball. They're giving it to Springs, and Springs is big and he's strong and he's making something happen inside. And one guy just doesn't tackle him. You know, you need a mob to tackle him because he is strong and he weighs about 231.
He has gained 30 yards in 7 carries. The Eagles call a timeout. They are left with 1, so they have to call it on defense here. Pittsburgh Steelers and the Los Angeles Rams going at it at Three River Stadium, and a final score: the Steelers beat the Rams 24-14. David Woodley threw 2 touchdown passes.
And the Rams really have had a difficult time moving the football in all 3 games that they've played.
The Rams and Saints were supposed to be strong challengers for the 49ers in the NFC West, and those teams are struggling, and the 49ers are winging.
There's a long way to go, though. You never know what's going to happen. There we see Marion Campbell on the sideline with Fred Bruni and also Chuck Clausen, all 3 of whom are trying to give instructions to their defense to try to get something big happen so they can get the ball back for the offense.
2:23 to go. The Eagles have always had trouble with the Cowboys here in Texas Stadium. They've only won twice in 13 games here. 3rd down and 5 at the 49. This is a big play. Hogaboom's pass caught at the 39 by Doug Cosby, a 1st down, and these are the kind of backbreaker plays that a team gets off.
Emphasize again, it was a good call, a well-thrown ball because it was low. Here again, in traffic, he wanted to throw the ball low, so in the event that you don't catch it, it's going to hit the turf and not jump up in the air.
We have our 2-minute warning right now. 2-minute warning. But the Dallas Cowboys on a big 3rd down play, and it was Doug Cosby who caught touchdown passes in the first 2 games, who made a fine catch to keep the drive going for the Cowboys. We want to thank some people right now. The executive producer of NFL football, Terry O'Neill. Senior producer, Chuck Milton. Our producer here at Texas Stadium and our teammate all season, John Ferratzis. And directed by Andy Kindle. And our thanks to everyone associated with this broadcast, production and technical crew this afternoon. It was the home opener, and certainly not a spectacular game. The crowd wasn't buzzing throughout, but the Cowboys are looking for the W, and the Eagles looking for respect, and the Eagles, of course, looking for the win too. The Eagles have respect.
Yeah, well, the only thing that's really important, it doesn't make any difference. You'd like to look good, but the only thing that's really important is you win the game. And you can always do something about the way you look, but you can't do anything about changing the score. So that's the important thing. Win the game, and it looks like right now, with 2 minutes left in this contest, it looks like the Dallas Cowboys are going to emerge with a win.
Provided they don't make any mistakes.
That's right. 2 minutes, a long time. We've seen a lot of crazy things happen in 2 minutes.
I remember Herman Edwards figured in a big play against Joe Pisarcik, now his teammate a few years ago with the Giants and the Eagles.
And then I saw a game with the Giants against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they came back. Kansas City fumbled, and the Giants won a game the same way. So it's crazy. You never know what's going to transpire. 1st
and 10 on the 39. Tony Dorsett looking for running room. Joelle Williams and Jerry Robinson there, and the Eagles are going to call their last timeout. So the Eagles are out of timeouts with 1:51 showing.
The only chance they got right now, they got to really do a good job of tackling the football. They've got to somehow, some way scrape it loose. That's the only chance they got to get back in this game.
Want to remind you, coming up next, the NFL Today wrap-up show with Brent Musburger in New York, and he'll bring you up to date and put everything in perspective with what's happened here in this 3rd week of this 1984 NFL season. Next week, the NFL Today starts it off, the doubleheader week for CBS. These are the games that you will see. And the second games of the doubleheader, the Packers, who lost to the Bears, will play here at Texas Stadium. Chicago plays at Seattle, and Tampa Bay, with their first win of the year, will go against the New York Giants. We'll see if the Giants rebound from their loss to Washington this afternoon. Second down and 6, 1:51 to go. And the last timeout. Second and 6. We have seen the Cowboys passing in situations like this.
Yeah, with Tom Landry calling the plays from the sideline, he's unpredictable. But I doubt very much if we'll see him do that now. I think they're going to try to take as much time off the clock as they possibly can.
Ron Springs, not this time, picks up a yard. The clock will continue to run. It'll be 3rd and 6. So the Eagles conceivably would get another shot if they can stop Dallas right here. The Eagles are out of timeouts.
So Dallas is going to take as much time as they possibly can. And
third down and 4 for the Cowboys. Well, they came into the ball game, Dallas, with a problem of turnovers. That wasn't a problem today. There have been only 2, and those were interceptions by Jaworski. Third down and 4. Here is Tony Dorsett, and stopped short of a first down by 3 yards by Greg Brown. And now with less than a minute to go, the Cowboys are going to use up the clock, but there's not enough time for Philadelphia to really get anything going with no timeouts left.
It's all over. And of course, the thing that Dallas did not do today, they did not fumble. In the first 2 games, they lost 7 fumbles. Last year, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, they only had lost 14 fumbles all year long. In 2 games, they lost 7. Today, they haven't lost any at all, I don't think, and as a result, it makes a tremendous difference as far as field position and control is concerned.
25 seconds to go. They're taking their time and may even take a 10-yard penalty or 5-yard penalty, which they are. Delay of the game, so the clock stops with 22 seconds to go. Offensively, the Dallas Cowboys were not as sharp as, not yet sharp, I should say, on the season. They've got a lot of yards, but they weren't as crisp.
No, but here again, talking to Landry yesterday, it's very obvious that he doesn't expect, he'd be surprised if his team really meshes real well until later on the season. He thinks he'll know a lot more about his team and the execution of this team offensively by about the 5th or 6th game.
So he's happy to escape with a victory.
That's all that matters. Just win the game.
It's 4th down. And so the Cowboys are going to run it on 4th down, use up the clock. Now Hogaboom is going to call a timeout.
Can't believe that.
You once had a good line about that when they mic'd you at the Kansas City, Minnesota Super Bowl.
I did? What was it?
I don't recall, but at the time I know it was a good one. You don't think? I forget it, but I know at the time I was very amused by it. Don't forget, coming up next, the NFL Today wrap-up show with Brent Musburger. He'll wrap up all the scores for you. 60 minutes. Immediately following the wrap-up show, and a new edition of the award-winning show on CBS. 22 seconds remain. Rafael Septien, who has bailed out the Cowboys so many times, 3 field goals today, and 2 of them were long ones, 47 and 51 yards. Cowboys had a 6-0 lead. The Eagles briefly had a 7-6 lead, and then Dallas scored on a touchdown and maintained the lead, but not a big one.
Now they're a man short. They finally get a man in the game. He'll have to reach. No, very disorganized on that kicking situation. That he's going to have to reach for the hip.
Evan Cooper is standing on the 10, and Danny White with a short kick. And Cooper's going to let it bounce at the 5. Steve Diassi, the rookie from Boston College, tries to keep it in, but he can't, and it'll be a touchback. And with 12 seconds to go, it won't be a draw play, will it?
No, I wouldn't think so. They're going to pump it up. Lockhart did not get on the field in time. He did get on the field, but very, very late. Number 56, he was supposed to be on the kicking team and did not get out. I think he thought the game was over.
Many of the fans do as they make their way to the exits. So Jaworski may have, what, the most two chances to go for long passes and hope for.
Well, he's going to get 3 receivers on one side, keep a tight end on the other, and try the old big bin play, try to get the ball downfield. There's some kind of a play, maybe a tipping play, some kind of a play like that, where they would have a chance to still come up with a big shot.
Jaworski going for Woodruff. It's intercepted by Dennis Thurman. Thurman running it back. He'd like to go all the way with it, and he may. Thurman is tackled at the 10-yard line. Tackled at the 10-yard line by Mike Quick. Third interception of the ball game for the Cowboys, and the game is over. Final score, Dallas 23, Philadelphia 17. Coming up will be the NFL wrap-up show with Brent Musburger. For Hank Stram, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Texas Stadium as the Cowboys beat the Eagles.